the original Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones accidentally murders Shredder. Like he falls into a garbage truck and he literally hits the compactor on the garbage truck and goes, and he just shrugs his shoulders as he literally is crushing a man to death. And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, let's party!" And like,
that's murder in the first, bro.
Hello and welcome to another Dead Pixel. We're a podcast about video games, anime, entertainment, life, a little bit of everything in between. I'm your host as always, Joe, and with me, the gentleman who always does his Friday 13th rituals on the 12th, Nick. How you doing, Nick?
Yeah, you have to do the Friday the 13th rituals, as you called them. You have to do those early so that they can actually detonate or go off or whatever you want to say, come to fruition on the actual day. So, I always, and then I knew I had this podcast to do. So, can't be two places at once. So, alibi, or whatever you want to call it. That's, yeah. So anyway, Friday the 13th, I'm definitely here doing this podcast and preparations for the Friday the 13th were made earlier, but those were about this podcast. So yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's 14 hours ahead your time in Japan. So, yeah, I guess so. You can just, use that as your excuse. I'm just celebrating that much longer. Yeah. And then you end it on Hawaiian time, It's just like both places where you've lived and you have, people that want to get rid of. I mean, yes, friends. Okay.
Just to be clear, I have not committed any crimes and I have no plans to commit any crimes. So yeah, we can return.
Plans, no. I mean, having been caught, no. Yes,
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Not illegal until you get caught. That's what your lawyer always tells you, anyways. Okay. Well, it's all right. It's been a hot minute. So last time we didn't get to talk about a lot of what we've been playing, due to the state of play and the Game Fest. So our summer Game Fest.
There's a lot that was going on last time, and yeah, I mean we had a ton of games to go through. That was like there was no way that we spent 2 hours doing that. There was no way we're going to get to everything else that we'd actually been doing personally.
Yeah, so this time we'll catch up on what we've been playing, what we've been watching, and then get to the Xbox showcase at the end here, the latter half. So, all right, why don't you kick us off with what you've been playing?
I recently purchased Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So I had a friend text me out of the blue about this game, asking me if I'd played it, and he was saying, "Yeah, have you played this game?" And I was like, "No, but I've heard it's good." And he was like, "Yeah, it's really good," and all this other stuff. So I'd already heard a lot of people saying how good it was and stuff, and so I'd already kind of decided that I was going to play it. And back when we saw the previews, I thought it looked good then too. But anyway, him kind of texting me out of the blue made me go, "Oh, okay, I guess this is more than just kind of random good game or whatever." So I have played a little bit of it, about 3 hours, and I'm not very far. I piddled around a little bit in the early going because there's a guy that I discovered, and the game warns you this guy's tough, and he keeps he's totally optional apparently, but he kept killing me. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to level a little bit and then try to fight him. And there's a couple times where I got really close, but I just screwed up some of the things I needed to do. And I I was like, yeah, I could sit here for a while, but I'm just gonna go on. I'll come back to this later. Anyway, so maybe not as far as I should be, or maybe a normal person would be after 3 hours. But I've reached the world map and gone a bit beyond that as well. I fought the first kind of, I don't know how major of a boss it was, but kind of the first what I would consider legitimate boss in the game, which is still sort of part of the tutorial area, I guess. But I think the worst thing I could say about the game so far is that it doesn't take much to brush up against the budget of this game. You can tell that the budget is not massive. Um, that being said, what they are doing with with the budget is pretty great. Um, it is, you can tell pretty much from the outset that it's a little bit different of a game compared to a lot of other schlock that comes out. From the jump, the writing I could tell is pretty good. Um, the world is different enough. I feel like there's some things that's like, okay, we kind of have you know stock um, assets here and there, maybe adjusted a little bit to be a little bit more unique or whatever. But in general, in general, they're like different enough, unique enough. Um, the I can't help but see Robert Pattinson as the main character. Um, the model or whatever they used for the main guy, Gustav, is he looks a lot like Robert Pattinson. So that's one of the things I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess gotta just live with that. The battle system, uh, I've heard gets pretty complicated. Looks like it gets pretty. I mean, um, expands out quite a bit. And from the beginning, they do a pretty good job of making it simple, but you can tell that. But it's still fun even from the jump. So there's a long way to go with this game. I think it's like 50 hours for like a kind of a normal playthrough, with doing a couple extra side things and stuff. So there's a lot to go on it, but our early thoughts are, yeah, I can confirm that it is a pretty good game. Looking at the score on Metacritic, it is there's plenty of 2025 left to go, but it is the highest rated game on Metacritic right now with a 93. I'm sure it'll get beaten by something else that's going to come out in the fall, or a few things that are going to come out in the fall. But for now, it is very well critically acclaimed, and yeah, I'm looking forward to playing a lot more of it.
Yeah, I'm very glad I don't see what you see when I look at Gustav. So that's awesome because that would completely ruin the game for me too. So
Yeah.
I most definitely don't want to see Robert Pattinson anywhere, anytime. Uh, that
He's a pretty good
okay,
actor.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
like
he's not. He's mediocre at best.
he's
He,
made he's made his money, but otherwise he's about par for what an actor his age in this day and
he's
age
a
would
Colin
go.
Farrell of his time. Okay, he's just there. He doesn't make it better, but he doesn't make it worse. That's the best praise I'm going to say for it.
I think he's a lot better than Colin Farrell. I think he's a lot better than Colin Farrell. Um I think that like I respect him at least for doing different things. Unlike the, the the some of the Ryans of the world. Um, I feel like a lot of the bigger name actors just kind of do the same thing over and over again. They play it very safe. And Robert Pattinson, you know, in the Lighthouse, Good Time, and some of the other stuff. It's like, yeah, this guy he's swinging for the fences. He's taking some weird shots. So I at least respect him for that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but the
Okay, I or in the lighthouse, I can see the Gustav similarities when you put it that way.
so okay,
Uh,
good. I'm not totally crazy. Then. I'm just like, man, I see a.
it's the but the thing is the hair just makes it look like if it was wearing a really floppy, silly wig. But no, I can with it's the mustache in the lighthouse. So I can kind of see what you're getting at just a little bit. Luckily, I
Think
still
so.
don't really. it's not my first go to, so I'm like I'm good. It doesn't ruin the effect for me. But what does ruin the effect for me is this next game. So this was a game that was terrible for me when it first came out. I started playing Saints Row again. So not was it Saints Row from goodness, what was it 20
22,
was
21.
2020? Yeah, no, I think it was 22. I think you're right. 2022. So back then, I only had the PlayStation 4, while you and some other people I know had the PS5. This game, being like a free upgrade and all that, it ran. It was like it ran better than Cyberpunk 2077, but not by much. Uh,
If you're having to compare it to Cyberpunk, it's not running very well.
it was yeah, most definitely. I remember for the PlayStation 4 when it first came out, doing like chase sequences where I forget one of them you're like you have a rocket launcher in the back of a pickup truck or something like that, and you're being chased, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, they're after us," blah blah blah. And it's an automatic driving sequence, and there's not an enemy in sight. I'm like, I guess we're supposed to be chased. Are they coming? I don't know. And then like eventually you just make it to the end. I'm like, all right, I'm done with that. I win. It was ridiculously bad. It would crash often. And long story short, now in 2025, the volition's no longer there, and they had come out with a few DLCs. I had bought the originally the like expensive like collector's edition pack. I think it was like $80 or something like that. But it came with like the remastered of Saints Row the Third,
Mm.
which a few of my buddies like we had played through that. I had played through that in 100% completion on I think the PS3 probably. I know it did it on PC as well. So I with a couple different friends, a couple different times, like that was probably their best game, full stop. And so like that the remaster came with the special edition of Saints Row 2022. It also came with like the DLC pack. But because it ran so bad, I eventually just dropped it. And when I did get my PS5, I kind of completely forgot about it. I downloaded it, just had it sitting in the back burner. And since my PC is currently on the fritz, my usual hell diving, you know, game night got postponed. And we're like, all right, well, what do we do? And like we've never finished or even gotten that far into Saints Row. Like, let's go into that. And sure enough, so we dove back into Saints Row, and I'm like, all right, this is a completely competent game. That's, like
Oh, okay.
it is.
Yeah.
It does the thing it needs to
Yeah.
do, and
Ooh.
that's it. I'm like, yeah, I'm having an okay time with it, but at the same time, it's just like it is just passable. I'm like, hey, if this was how it played in the originally, I would have been happy. It's kind of funny. It's just wow,
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's actually
yeah.
so much better than I remember.
See,
you know,
that's the thing is like when it came out and you were having that experience and I was having the PS5 experience, um, I was like, man, that's kind of a PS4 problem because I thought then what you're saying now, like this game is fine. This game is not really doing anything special. It's pretty ho hum. It's you know just like it's just not special, but it's fine. It's kind of fun. It's kind of stupid, but it's really nothing to write home about or really even remember all that well. Um, so I kind of felt bad for you because like you were the Saints Row fan out of like the biggest Saints Row fan out of all of us, and you couldn't even experience the mediocre ness of the game in all of its radiant glory. But but yeah, like it's I don't know. I guess it goes to show this and another GTA GTA like game that is coming out uh, recently just kind of go to show that making a GTA style game is a lot harder than it looks apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once again, it's kind of it was interesting to see, Volition do the swan dive that they did towards the end there. Uh, they yeah, it's the right kind of stupid in a lot of ways, but at the same time, like nothing beats Saints Row the Third. That was like the right place, the right time. Times were different back then, and
Well,
it
they
was like,
kind of
but
maxed
also
out.
it broke the mold in a lot of ways too. It's like watching the first Deadpool movie, when it first came out. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, it hit the right amount of shocking, the right amount of stupid. It really did everything. And then after that, you're like, okay, it's more of the same. I get it. It's still funny, but it's not. It doesn't hit the same. It's not.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it feels.
Because they kind of went overboard with Saints Row 4, right? Is that what I've heard?
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, they immediately give you like all like aliens take over. You get the impossible choice of do you want to either cure cancer, or it was like solve the world food shortage problem.
Mm.
And then the moment you pick one or the other, then since you're the president, the White House explodes because aliens attack it or something like that. Yeah, it's and
Eh,
then they give you all the superpowers right away that you got like as part of the DLC from Saints Row the Third, which then makes all your like solves all your mobility issues, but then it makes like jacking cars like pointless. So it kind of went in a weird direction. It wasn't quite as I don't know, you didn't feel like you built up your character.
they kind of jumped the
So
shark
I didn't.
immediately, and it's like, well, yeah, this is not really. It's like, I mean, it sounds like 3 took it right up to the edge where it was like, we have
Well, you like
found.
you like to feel you like to feel it go up to 11,
Mhm.
but when you start at 11 and you can't really go much further because 'cause you're already, like, redlining it, I'm like, "Alright, that's."
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, so this one, like I said, I was hoping it'd bring it back, and granted, I played enough of it to realize, like, yeah, obviously it fell short in a lot of ways, but once again, I was willing to buy it outright because I had a couple friends, like I said, we played enough of the previous games, and we liked it enough, and we're like, "Yes, let's, try to support, the creators," and obviously, they didn't get enough of support because 'cause they're dead now.
I mean, they
So
were they were pretty much running on fumes from what it seems like. I mean, because they closed the doors basically not long after this game launched. I mean, they were talking about bad
yeah,
sales at the time.
they came out with that and some DLC stuff, and then after that, they're like once they finished their roadmap, they were out.
They were like,
So,
yeah, they were kind of. I think they were counting on this game to save them,
oh yeah,
and it was like it was just never. Even if it had sold probably mediocrely well, it probably wouldn't have been enough. I think they were like, well, if we have if there's a big appetite for this kind of game, then we'll be able to show that, and we'll, even if we're in debt, we'll still be able to show investors and whatever. Look, we there's money. We don't have it yet, but there's money in this, and we can get it. We just need more time, and that was not made apparent, and so yeah, they had to close. But yeah,
yeah. Well, plus when they launched, it was like, we're talking like their development. They had to do the development, the latter half development through COVID. The whole start and like peak COVID times.
dude, yeah, I forgot
But
about that.
their online was half baked because it was constantly disconnecting as well. It was really hard to stay connected and playing a game. So there was a lot of rough issues. It was a rough launch. Now that it's all said and done, uh, it's stable. And once again, it's one of those things that like uh, a mediocre game is much more enjoyable when you play it with a friend,
Mm.
and you can act stupid together, and that's kind of the key in a lot of these things. Like the original Kane and Lynch, you know, both Kane and Lynch games are pretty forgettable, but if you have the right person you're playing with, then it makes it a better time. So, eh, anyways, yeah. Also playing, kind of a better time playing with people is Split Fiction. So I got around to checking this out from the library. Uh, I've currently, with the same buddy, played. Uh, let's see, I played the
A
A
way
Way
out.
Out,
Mm-hmm.
and I also played It Takes Two with the same person. And so now this is then we're like, all right, now we got to go through this one. Uh, and we played a couple nights while I still had it checked out, and had a good time with it. Split Fiction, for those don't know, it's a multiplayer experience where it's from the same guys who did the previous games I just mentioned, and a brother, Tale of Two Sons.
Mm.
Uh, the was that It Takes Two, apparently Game of the Year winner. It's not worth it, but Way Out is a pretty fun, shorter experience, and Split Fiction's a really solid game. I mean, so far it's the idea is you're a unpublished author with a bunch of other people, and a tech giant is uh, gotten a bunch of people together to put you into a machine to turn your story into a virtual reality of sorts. Um, it's completely stupid. It's a really dumb like MacGuffin to try to get this story happening. But one of the characters is super thirsty to try to get published, and is pretty much already like kissing the feet of the big tech giant, being like, "Thank you for this opportunity," and all this other stuff, and trying to speak on behalf of everyone else, and everyone else is just like, "We're quiet," and then the other one, who's of course has to be the polar opposite because that's the concept of these stories, is just like very skeptical and like, wait, we weren't told about this machine. We were just told it's supposed to be your story and like sign off on it. And then she gets cold feet at the last minute, tries to run away, and they're like, no, you're getting into this machine, and accidentally bumps her into the same VR space water bubble as this other character, because that's it. That they're just floating. So now that there's two minds in one space bubble, and now they're interfering with each other's
So,
stories.
so you would
And
say, so would you say that this fiction has been split?
sure, uh, I wish I could just reach across the screen and slap you. All right,
Me too.
so man, yeah, yeah, just was it Full Metal Jacket? Choke yourself. All right, but anyways, so yeah, the one character is very cynical and pessimistic, and the other one is just obscenely, grotesquely sweet, bubbly, and naive.
Mm.
Uh, Yeah, it's just funny because the moment I got to pick my character, I'm gonna like, all right, I'm gonna go with the cynical one. Boom, just instantly, like, because in the beginning of these games, you get to see player one and player two, and you can kind of jostle back and forth of who you want to pick. And like the moment I saw that came up, I'm like, boom, am I picking my person right away? I'm like, this other person is just irritating the crap out of me already. Um, and which is kind of funny enough because despite that, the bubbly one is the one who's super like grating right out the gate, being like, "Oh, science fiction. That's just so like." She's just instantly like degrading it, like right out the gate, and like, and it's just like, but then she demands to be like have her fair share of being listened to and stuff. I'm like, ah, this is obnoxious writing right here. It's just really bad, but the gameplay is pretty fun and the visuals are pretty solid. So
Okay.
the in this game, like what happens is there's just a quick synopsis is like you're playing through one person's story, and then through a rift, you end up jumping to like a la like sliders or like quantum leap. You're kind of like jumping to the other person's story,
It looked like
and
it had some portal aspects. I mean, not the game portal, but like there was some portal type shit going on.
yeah, and so that's kind of the gist. Like, for a while, you spend most of the time in one person's story, and then they literally have vignettes, optional vignettes, where you can be like, "I'll jump into," and you can get like little side stories, from the other person's perspective or the other person's, worlds. And then when you're done with that, then they switch over, and it's kind of, once again, it is what it is. It's
Mm.
simple, it's fun, it's nothing too complex. I feel like it's pretty simple, like gameplay all around. Nothing too challenging. I guess but once again, it's just enough to keep you entertained, and the story's not impressive, but uh, there's a lot of polish. So
Okay.
I like it better than so far. I should say I like it better than Takes Two. Um, I like A Way Out probably the best out of the two-player games. I
Hmm.
have not played A Brother Tale: Two Sons since they remade it two-player, because I played it originally when it was one player, two thumbsticks.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah,
so that's how it originally came out, and,
yeah.
it always questioned, "Why didn't you just make this two-player?" So anyways, I
Because
think A Way Out was a better experience overall, but it just was very much in early works from them, so they couldn't quite do a lot of the things that they would have, eventually end up coming. Like they make bigger and better levels. They've refined their process, and this is just once again the next step in their refinement.
well, like A Way
So
Out is like about two like uh I won't say middle aged, but maybe a little bit younger than middle aged men trying to escape a prison. Right.
yeah, it's essentially
So
so at
so
one
so
point you're like this is just Shawshank. You're literally
well,
tarring
yeah,
a roof at one point.
yeah, but I mean, like that is going to be less approachable to a ultra mainstream audience compared with the kind of chibiness of It Takes Two, and then this is not quite that chibi, but Split Fiction is like about two uh, young women who are like in the kind of in the sci-fi silliness realm. So it makes sense that they're like, okay, we've learned that we kind of need to make games that are maybe a bit more approachable, and we've also refined all of our other skills. So maybe that's what I think. Multiple factors are probably leading to their newer game success.
Well, I think it was that Alex Navarro had said for A Way Out is just like it's like someone who's not in the US getting all their the prison and like heist films
Yeah.
all from US film, and like that's how they like okay, that's how they got all their knowledge is from that,
This is
and
how
then
the
they're going to
prison
make
system works in the United States, according
well,
to
I mean,
Oz.
you're looking at it and you're like, okay, these scenes are scripted from different things.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, you might, The Fugitive or anything like that. You're like, okay, all these old, Hollywood movies. This is pretty much
All
let's just
prisons
crib from
are on
here
a
and here.
cliff, and they have a waterfall running over the side.
There's the bubbly character from Split Fiction. I forget their names now. So, but anyways, the first couple things she does is she just quotes and gets her ideas from Ubisoft games, and I'm like, legit, she
What?
just straight up yeah, at one point you jump off a tower into a or something into a pile of hay, and she's like, "Yeah, you just have to take a leap of faith," or something, and then she does,
That's
she
the
says
most
another thing, but it's
annoying.
just
The Ubisoft
yeah,
part.
I absolutely hate her. I am so yeah, I despise her.
No wonder you're a
Um
failed writer. You're inspired by Ubisoft.
For sure. No joke. Not even like so anyways, you can't when you come across these really ham-fisted lines and things like that, and like the other writer ends up having some really stupid stuff. Like it's a really cool sci-fi theme or cyberpunk theme, and then all of a sudden you get to the story of the meat and potatoes of her story. You're like, oh, that's really dumb. That's like juvenile level dumb. So it's just like yeah, I don't want these people to have a happy ending. I want in the end, like, in fact, if the evil corporation steals all your ideas and utilizes them for their algorithm, you're probably going to hurt the system as a whole. You are probably going to do more harm to their company because they have your thoughts in their algorithm than it would be
Skewing
to
it.
actually like chat GPT its way out. And it's just like, oh my goodness. Anyways, so uh, but once again, story aside, the actual gameplay is, and then the visuals are good are there.
That would
So that's it.
that would actually be super funny. I would definitely go to see a movie where that's like the surprise ending of how they kill the AI is they they feed it like this
You
person's
think they lose? You think they have their bad
this
ending? They're like, "Oh no, we lost.
they
They
feed
took our ideas and now,"
no
they're like,
they feed it the they feed it this Twilight fan fiction and it kills it. Oh,
"Oh
that'd be
man."
fantastic. All right, what else you been playing?
Yeah. All right. And Atomfall. So Atomfall came out is a little bit older now. It's been out for a few months now. So This is that at a quick glance, it looks, a lot of people looked at it thinking it's kind of like a UK or Fallout in England,
Okay.
and it kind of is, but it's more like but I think it's maybe a little bit more towards the stalker realm as well.
Yeah, I got
Uh,
stalker vibes from it.
so it's I think it's supposed to take place back in the 60s or 70s, uh, and essentially it's just a little area in the UK where it gets like closed off because of a uh, an accident or something, a government mishap. So they quarantine the area, wall up the whole surroundings, and you are uh, you're the character who just wakes up in a bunker, not knowing anything, uh, and that's kind of your character. So I'm like, all right, uh, the I see the comparisons to Fallout and stuff like that. This game is all right, there's a couple. I'm gonna start with the negatives right off the bat. So, um, they unlike a normal Fallout game where you can collect everything you want and then you become over encumbered. This game, it's like no, you can't be over encumbered, but you could only carry a finite amount of things, and that's actually really little,
Worse.
a really
Yeah.
little bit amount of stuff. So it's like I forget now. It's something like 15 items or something like that. It's just really minimal. And then depending on weapons, you can only carry like four larger weapons, whether it be a cricket bat, a rifle, a shotgun, but you can only carry four large things like that. So if you happen to come across a couple rifles or something like that, and you want to bring them to a trader to sell, you can only carry a max of four of those type of things that take up that long space. And it's so it's really weird that way. It's like I want to say this game is meant for PC because the first thing I'd do is I'd mod the crap out of my inventory. Like that's I would just say, just like if you mod Fallout and be like, oh yeah, no more over encumbrance. Just let me carry as much stuff as I want, pack rat it all. Um, but so it's maybe a negative, maybe a positive to some people. It doesn't have the normal waypoint system. I mean, I guess they let you customize. There's a lot of customization if you want to make it very easy and have it from character enemy difficulty, uh, from the survival aspects, from map management, quest markers. So the default that they recommend, uh, what you do is you find notes. You pick up notes, and then you're supposed to use those clues in the notes to help kind of further your story progression. It gives you clues on what to go to point A to point B, B to C, and you're chaining these things together to figure out where to go. Now you can just set it up so make those points easier and be like, hey, just give me my waypoint right away. Just let me know, put it on the map. Um, but it's very much a go anywhere you want right from the beginning. You don't necessarily have to go in a certain direction. You can wander into uh, a zone where it is most definitely not meant to be right away, where everyone's hostile to you. Because in the beginning, it's just like you're kind of safe. The roaming bandits, but you got a lot of leeway. Like you're like I can run away from them if I want to.
Mm.
But when you get out there to the other areas, they're like, no, no, shoot on sight. You're here, you're dead. So be prepared to battle right out the gate. I'm like, okay. So it's confusing when you if you like to explore everything right away. Uh, it doesn't provide a lot of that self guidance. But one of the things I will mention that I do like is it lets you skip things then that way. Like you can accidentally discover you can go to the ending of a quest line, find said item, or take care of said person, and completely skip over all the steps in between.
Mm.
So if you happen to go to a location and there's you clear out the area, you discover the things, or you shoot the person, and they're like, oh yeah, turns out later on when they're like, hey, I need this item, you're like, oh, you mean like this one I have in my backpack? Here you go. That means I'm like, cool, I don't have to go through that quest line, or we need you to take out this person. Like, oh yeah, I already took him out. And when it comes to taking people out, you can pretty much take out everyone in the games.
Okay.
Certain enemies will respawn if you leave the map and come back. Certain just roaming patrols, but literally like everyone in the village or any like all the people, traders that you sell and stuff with, you can take them out if you want to. You completely apparently you can, yeah, you can't necessarily, they've designed the game so you don't have to lock yourself out even if you take out an important person. There's still ways around that. And so it's very unique in the fact that they let you come at it from a bunch of different ways. Um, I do like that free flow aspect. I just really hate this inventory system with a passion because it makes it really hard for like, you don't have currency in this game. It's just literally a barter system. So unlike bottle caps or something like that, where you're like, okay, at least in Fallout you
Well,
can collect bottle caps as your base currency. You can still trade item for item and whatever
well,
balance you
I
can
mean,
get
like
there.
Fallout is one way to solve that problem, but like Resident Evil and Alan Wake 2 also have very limited inventory systems, but they show you at least like with Alan Wake, and I'm trying to think of Resident Evil 8. Like they show you in Alan Wake, I'll just use that one. It's like, hey, here's a long shotgun. You can only like it takes up 3 or 4 blocks. A bat like a med kit only takes up 1 block. You can only carry so much stuff because that makes sense. Like as a human being, you can only carry so much stuff. So they're showing you in the game, this is why you can only carry that much. And then you can do like upgrades and stuff like that. And it's also, you have to balance that. That's part of game design is knowing, should we only let them be able to carry 15 items? Well, we need to make it fun and challenging without being really freaking annoying. So good game design is like finding that sweet spot where like Alan Wake 2, they go, we found the sweet spot, and so you're like, dang, I don't have enough space. And it just makes it just a little bit challenging. It's like, well, if I just do this and this, then it'll be okay. And you can do whatever. Um,
Alan Wake isn't a fair comparison though, because in Alan Wake you're not selling your items. That's the problem. Is you everything in Alan Wake you find on the field and you find,
no,
but you're
my point for all of this is there's a way to make it fun, even though like it's limited. There's a way to make it fun, and it's up to the game designer to like find that point at which it is fun.
oh yeah, there's a good balance. If you do it right, because even Resident Evil 4, the notorious attaché case, I mean, became its own fun little Tetris mini game. The problem is, you know, when it comes to a game like this, where that is your form of currency, you're trying to buy and upgrade yourself.
Yeah.
You're trying to get better weapons. You're trying to later on you can craft and you can take like two bottom tier weapons, craft them together to make a tier, essentially from a tier one to a tier two. And then you take two, and then you got to get two tier two weapons to merge them together to get a tier three. But that means you have to have a total of four tier one weapons to, and that's when your space is limited, it becomes very difficult to do that. And when you can't sell for a blanket currency, you can't just like in Fallout, you're like, okay, I'm gonna take what I can, put it in my backpack, run to a merchant or somebody I can trade with, sell all my stuff, and then go back and pick up more stuff, pack rat it again, and do a couple waves, and just at least the very minimum have bottle cap currency. This one is just like, no, you have a finite amount of items, and when you're selling with people, you're doing a barter trade, so you can trade maybe a couple things. But if it's a one to one type of thing, almost, you're very limited,
Yeah.
and it hurts you a lot. And there's not a lot of chests like the Resident Evil style chest. There are a couple pneumatic tubes in certain areas, but they're not conveniently located. And so it's not like a Resident Evil system where like there's a box right here where I can just dump all my items that I'm not using. It's a little further away than you
Mm,
would like. So it becomes a chore just to go out to grab the more items that you've stashed. So and it's a big time chore. Like, oh, my pack is full. I'm just gonna quick dump these off. You can't just quickly dump them off. Usually, you have to usually make a trek, and then by the time you make your way back, you probably picked up more stuff along the way, and now it's it is not the best way to handle this. Um,
but like,
which just means you have to switch your brain and how you're playing in this game. Essentially, it's not.
I mean,
They kind of make it, it's like it's not the game, it's you.
like besides that, is it like is the other parts of the gameplay like combat and stuff? Is that I mean, because I think I've heard some pretty decent stuff, decent things about this game.
So The it's weird because the game doesn't level up in the traditional RPG sense.
Mm,
What happens is you find skill books. Skill books will unlock a certain number of, usually a set of 3 skills in different categories. You have you like uh, your combat, your stealth categories. You have a couple different sets. So in order to craft, like I mentioned, you had to find a skill book or find a merchant who is selling the skill book. And then once you learn, you just read the skill book, but you still have to have that item and then click learn. Then you have to have a different currency. Like learning stims. So you find these stims, and to learn the ability to craft 2 weapons together to upgrade the tier, that's takes like 7 stims. So you're collecting this usable currency to upgrade your ability to learn. There's no XP as like so it doesn't matter how many bandits you kill. Um, so it's kind of unique that way. Um, and as far as just normal gameplay goes, the combat is fun enough. It's solid. I don't really have any problems with it so far. Um, they have a lot of extra things that I've not needed so far. Like you have a lot of buffs, like special medicines and stuff you can take to help give you higher melee damage. Like they have a whole melee route. I guess I can't really see myself taking it because I feel like if this game is despite bullets being very finite, you can
mm.
still pick them up kind of easy enough, but it's a risk reward thing. You kind of got to make your shots count. Um, but if I guess you could make a really solid melee build if you wanted to, because there's a whole tree like setup. There's a bunch of skills related to that. Uh, I just uh, I just don't think it's beneficial personally. But that's just also the way I play, I guess.
I mean, the
If you
melee
want to be a
build
stealth.
is usually pretty. You kind of gotta want to do that for a lot of games if you go that route.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not as flushed out, or it's not as over the top as like Fallout games,
Okay.
because Fallout games really, because they have so many extra perks and extra things. So this is a much more simplistic version of those. But honestly, this game is also kind of made so like you probably don't even have to level up, and so long as you can aim and shoot, you could probably just take out the whole game, just like a Call of Duty style or whatever. Headshots are viable, and you'll eventually pick up enough weapons. You The dialogue options are kind of excessive in a lot of ways, depending on how you play the game. So if you break into an area, like a back room of a store or something like that, and you're like, "Oh, I found this information, this paper," you can then talk to certain people and like blackmail them and be like get items and stuff that way. Um, you could probably finish this. I actually haven't looked at it, but I bet you could probably finish this game in like a couple hours if you know
Mm,
exactly what to do.
mm.
You could probably like beeline it and just do like the things you need to,
Some kind of
because that's kind of
2 hour speed run or like hour long speed run, maybe, depending on how many
yeah.
glitches
It's
you
like
find.
yeah. And I don't really think there's that many like as far as glitches. Like just so long as you know the order you need to do, um, I think it's set up that way.
Mm.
Because it's all like I said, it's set up that you can do a lot. They have like 6 different endings to this game.
Is I mean,
Uh,
a lot of this stuff is reminding me of Fallout stuff because like Fallout 3, famously, you can go straight to where your dad is if you know where he is, and like see credits pretty quickly, right? Is this kind of like that? Like if you know the route, you can just do it.
yes, but there's a couple things you need to do before that. Like in order to you need to collect enough MacGuffins. I'm not going to
Mm.
spoil it, but you need to
Things.
collect enough stuff to do the thing. So if you
Okay.
know where to get the stuff, then you can hit up those points. There's probably a loophole around that too. Um, but once again, I haven't finished the game yet, but I've enjoyed my time with it. But at the same time, it almost because I like to explore like a lot of places,
Mm.
it's almost too much at a certain way because it's not as labeled or mapped out as flush as I would personally like it. Um, like you do have your normal map, and you can lay down markers on your map as well. The problem is like one of the things that annoy me is the map marker. like I put an exclamation point for you get a metal detector later on, and you can find just little caches of things like sometimes it might have an extra weapon or some supplies you can use to craft like bombs or med kits. But unfortunately, the amount of supplies you have is limited as well. So I quickly found myself being topped out with too much med kits supplies. And so I'd find a chest or something like, oh, here's more bandages that I need, cloth. I'm like, oh, I don't need any more cloth. Or here's like alcohol. I'm like, all right, well, let me try to mark it on my map. This chest that I found, and I put it like an exclamation point. It's ridiculous because the exclamation point is like if you zoom into the map as far as you can go, throw down an exclamation point, it's like that big. And that is the same size it is. It doesn't matter where you like, but that's
Oh,
just the natural default of that icon. So when you're backed up all the way, you see all these other icons that are like appropriately sized for your map. And then you have to really look and like zoom in to find the marker that you put because your default whenever you lay a marker is the smallest possible marker you can be.
it's
So I
like
have this exclamation point that's like yay big that I have to zoom in all the way, and like
it's
it's
always like
really
25 by
dumb.
25 pixels no matter how much you're zoomed in. It just the TV, it's going to always be that. Like
Yeah, yeah. It's like when you
you're
zoomed
like,
out all the way and you throw it down, you're like, wait, did I throw it in the right spot? Let me
oh,
zoom all the way in. Yes, no, it's once again, I think that's why I think this is something that's made for the PC, where like, oh, a
mm,
quick mod would fix that and just make things a lot smoother.
gosh.
Um,
Yeah.
it's it's a fun game, and I see why
Okay.
people like it a lot. And especially if you want to be like a homicidal maniac and you just want to murder everyone in town, or like completely just go ham, be like, hey, I'm gonna talk to this trader. I'm gonna trade for myself a good deal. I'm gonna give him all this stuff, and then I'm just gonna turn around, stab him in the back, and take all my stuff back. Like you can get away with
Murder
that
hobo
sometimes.
type
Uh,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And how it's honestly, it's a fun game, but I don't know how much more time I'm gonna spend with it. I probably am going to see a ending and then
Mm,
just be done with it. But there is a lot. If there is a lot. There's like 5 different zones, maps that you change into, and they have like one group of people who are essentially. Uh, so you have a village, and that's your that's like the central hub or one of the hubs, and in that village is being occupied by military forces that essentially went to to like secure the area and then got locked in. They're
mm,
like, all right, quarantine zone happened. That military cannot leave, so now they've occupied the city, martial law style. And one of the other places are essentially by new druids that like occult like druids, and they're in the woods. They're the ones firing arrows, and that's where you get your bow from. And there's at least one or two endings associated with that faction.
mm,
You can go with the military faction if you want a different ending. You have a mysterious phone call that just says some stuff, and you can try to listen to them if you want a different ending. So they have a lot of unique choices to make in this game. um, I think it boils down to one of a handful of actions, but who you're doing it for determines the outcome.
okay.
Um, so yeah, I think it's a very good first attempt in the series, and I think I would like to see what else they do in the future because this is most definitely has all the uh, right pieces to make something great, but it's just a little bit short on a lot of things.
It sounds like it
Uh,
needs polish. Like it just needs a couple more people to come in or a little bit more money in the budget to go and fix. They probably know about all these issues. They probably are like, yeah, we wish that was a little better. We wish that was a little better. We just don't have the resources to make it better. So yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
yeah, I mean this was done by Rebellion. Rebellion are the guys who do like the Sniper Elite series.
Okay.
So uh, it's kind of it's a departure from what they usually do, and I think like I said, I do like this game. It has a lot of charm in its own way. I just once again, I'm playing this on the PS5. I think the PC is the way to do it, just to mod your way out of a few annoyances,
Mm.
and then it would be a much more enjoyable time for me, at least. But yeah, I mean that's it. Just Atomfall was on my radar, and I happened to pick it up from the library. I'm glad I did. Uh, I think it's worth a shot if that any if the, any of those things sound interesting. If you like that kind of world, if you kind of like the aspect of um if you want to go into like a Fallout or like a Stalker kind of game, but you don't want to take the time to go into full Stalker 2,
Mm.
absurdity. This is much more bite sized and like appropriately like time managed wise. So
So you're saying it's Fallout for babies? Okay. Okay.
my first Fallout, excuse me. So
Fallout for baby
uh,
gamers. That's Joe. That's what Joe says.
all right. Well, what have you been watching, sir?
Um, a while ago, I finished The Last of Us season 2. Um, the production value is good, and I don't know how it is in the video game, but sort of there's like a flashback, um, and if you watch the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. I think it's like episode 5, it's the second to last episode. I think where they have the flashback, and the writing in that was pretty good. I thought, um, and the rest of it is, I don't know. There's just some dumb things that the characters do that are kind of hard to forgive. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it. I'm glad I watched it. I am I am I am looking forward to the next season. I think when it comes out I will watch it. Um but yeah, if I think that you would I think that if you watch season 1 uh and you I think and you just watch season 1, you would probably be fine, if not better off. So if you're a person out there that is thinking about watching it and has nothing to do with any of the games or the show before or whatever, um, I can recommend season 1, and then you can probably quit there. But yeah, so there's a lot of outside forces that I don't like to pay attention to, that people kind of talk about with this show. I don't really want to get into all that. I don't think it's fair really to judge a show precisely by that, like all the time. Um, though it probably is a bit of a factor here. In general, the show was well made, if not well done. Anyway, so I watched that, and then I just finished the
I have a question.
yeah.
All right, spoilers for The Last of Us season 2 for one character. So, did the ex-boyfriend get it in the season
He
2?
got shot clean in the head.
Yeah, dude. All right, so that was other than Joel in the beginning. That was probably the most dramatic like scene in the game. Like
Yeah.
in part 2, it's just running out of the theater, bam, down. I'm like, and it was just so abrupt and so like oomph. Like that was rough.
Well, I,
Uh,
I, I was relaying this to somebody else, and I was like, okay, you're Ellie, um, and you make it to back to Colorado, Wyoming, wherever the hell they are, and you figure out there's more to the story with Joel and leaving the hospital. You corner him, he tells you the truth. So now you know that he killed all of those people and all that stuff. And then the whole thing with Abby comes in, it happens. Abby comes in, surgical operation, gets Joel, doesn't hurt anybody else, doesn't even do any property damage, really. Just like PTSD scarring that you, Ellie, now have to endure. The logical thing to do is to just leave it alone, because Joel.
that's not the point. The point
Okay,
is to
okay,
logically take revenge.
okay. That's the dichotomy. That's the counter argument. That's the devil's advocate argument that I'm about to make. But the first argument is, if you look at it logically, Joel did what he had to do to save your life. In so doing, he had to kill all these people, and he killed the wrong girl's dad. That girl came back, got revenge, didn't kill you when she could have, got revenge, didn't hurt anybody else, and left. If you're Ellie, I think the logical thing to do is to go, okay, it's even. My life was saved. Joel got his. He was never really a good guy. Everybody knows that. He had it coming way before even all that stuff. It's done. That's logically how you look at it. But yes, personally, it's like you killed my adopted dad, or like from the Princess
Right,
Bride.
you forget the whole
You, wait,
point
wait,
of
wait, 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 wait.
but
It's
okay.
like the Princess Bride. You killed my name is Ellie. Blah blah blah. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I get that. You've got to go. You've got to do that. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's the fact is, um, yeah, Joel saved her life because they were gonna kill her, and they never let her know. It was never her choice. It was they were setting her up to be murdered the entire time. Ellie's like they're like, "We need to cart you across this nation for you to be murdered." In the name of science, mind, but still, for you to be murdered against your will. Nothing, it wasn't like she volunteered
Greater
for
good, but
this.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but literally unknown to you. Like you get no choice in it. It's our choice. So the Fireflies were just as bad as anyone else. And in the original game, it was stated that it was like uh, they said they make a statement saying like they're not sure if this will find a cure, but it's like they're
Yeah,
will. It's like so, and that's the thing is like it's a risk, but we're willing to take it. It's just like I'm like, really? The only sample you have, you're just going to outright murder and then just harvest. But like,
and
you,
hope.
how about doing some blood tests? How about doing some MRI? How about using that sample alive for at least a little bit and like harvesting that thing
Yeah,
until you need to murder it?
yeah. Like,
It made no sense
yes.
to me how
That
they went from zero to extreme in like, in no time flat.
so those people are bad. Don't get me wrong. Like those people are bad. But like if you're Ellie, after the fact, and Abby came in and did her stuff, and you know everything you know now, like to me the logical thing is to to let it go. The next logical thing, if you want to go get revenge, is not to try to get everybody in your tribe to stick their neck out for you and then get voted down or whatever, and then it's not to get anybody else to go with you. The next logical thing is to go, okay, Abby came and killed my paw, and now I'm going to go kill Abby and all the people that helped her, but I'm going to go it alone, like, because
Wasn't
this
that
is
her? Wasn't that I don't know how they did in the TV show, but that was essentially her plan to go alone anyways. And then her girlfriend just goes, "Oh, I'm gonna come along because I'm girlfriend."
well in the
And
show I can't, and I got to be honest, I can't remember exactly how it comes up, but they do a vote, yeah, and like they do a vote, and before they do the vote, Ellie stands up and gives a speech about why they should go risk their necks to get revenge for Joel, and then it gets voted down, and then the girlfriend's like, I'm coming with you, and so he's like, okay, that's fine, you know. So I'm like, at that point, before the vote, at that point, you've got to be like, no, if I'm gonna go get revenge, not gonna let anybody else get killed. It's just gonna be me that's gonna get killed if I fail. Because now where we are is the boyfriend just got shot through the head trying to save you, and now Joel's brother is under the gun, and your girlfriend or whatever is also in peril, with the baby is also in peril. It's like you've if you go out to get revenge, you can't let anybody else come with you, because it's a really stupid reason to die in the first place.
well, that's the thing is, once again, this the second story, the second part is it's just a mess from front to
Yeah.
back. it's not as good of a story, and the only reason why the game even stands up is because the gameplay is actually better, but the story is a mess and it's way too damn long.
Yeah.
It was at least twice as long as it should have been, and once it's kind of what I dropped off at it. I'm like, I played it, I beat it, and I'm like, great. I'm glad I checked that out from the library because I'm never actually going to own this because it's literally is not worth it. Um, and that's the thing is there's very few moments that I'm like, "Oh, wow, this is, like, impactful or meaningful or anything," because most of it's just garbage. Joel's death is shocking, and you get a lot of decent shock value of it, but then after that, like, the only other meaningful death that's why I had to mention it was because I didn't know if they were gonna have this in the 1st season or not, or
Yeah.
the first part of season 2, and that was Jesse's death. And Jesse's death, like I said, that was, like when that happened, I'm like, "Dang, okay," like, that was rough. That was, like, super,
I
like,
mean, to the credit,
cringed, like, it made you viscerally react, like, at least in the game. I'm not sure how they did it in the because
no,
in the
I was
game.
about to comment
Okay,
on that. To the show's credit, they walk through a door and then there's no warning. He just gets freaking blasted. And I know I yelled at my TV. I think it was like, "Holy f!" Sitting alone in my apartment, just yelling at my TV whenever that happened. So they do it. I mean, the way they do it was was right in terms of like getting that visceral
okay,
reaction
so
you're talking about.
it sounds pretty similar because at one point, like, I think it's like Abby's firing on them in the theater. She bolts out of the theater. They go to chase after. The moment they bust through the door, he takes it and drops. But they're running after her. So, yeah, he's first out the door, first to the ground, and it's just like, "Whoa."
So
And it's just I just remember yeah.
the way they do it in the show is different, but same but different. So Ellie is looking for Abby, right? But she finds she's already killed one of the henchmen. She finds two of the others. She kills them. Then Jesse finds her and says, "We gotta go. We're gonna get killed if you stay here. So we just gotta go." And so they go back to the theater. So they haven't encountered Abby yet at all. They go back to the theater. They like bandage up their wounds, and then like the Joel's brother and the girlfriend or whatever have already left, and then Jesse and what's her name are falling behind, and that's when they come through the door. So I mean, you kind of know there's got to be some sort of a finale or thing that's going to happen, but you're just not really expecting it to be like right then, and it bang. It sounds like it's in some ways it's even more just like out of the blue.
I could be misremembering it, to be honest. I just remember
Okay.
him going through the door, hitting the ground, and you
Well,
just
that's
like
the
I said, that
same.
reaction,
That's the
because
same. Yeah.
honestly, it's been a while now, and I only
Yeah.
played it the one time because I'm like I said, I
Because
have
you're
no
not a real
desire to play that
fan.
game again. But that was no, Neil Druckmann can jump off a cliff at this point. Um, like for a studio that was like
Focused.
couldn't get any better. Like way to just burn like just scorch earth your entire fan base and like for your own like it if you want to do film, do film. But
A real art form.
I mean, don't like the video games aren't like unless if you're doing in a legit political game, like that's the point of your game. But quit trying to hide your political views and like force it down the throat of people while disguising it as something else. Because that's I feel that that's uh yeah, the fans were coming in for one thing, and then you bait and switch them with another. Um, and it's once again
Mm-hmm.
that game was too damn long, dude. It really was fuck. It was just oh man, I hate finished that game because I'm like this has to get better. I hope I want it. I hope in the end has some sort of like impact where like it made the journey worthwhile. I'm really hoping it did. And then for me, it's like I'm like oh, okay, that's the way you do it. Sure, whatever. I will play the third one because I'm a sucker that way, but I'm not necessarily going to put money into to you guys for this franchise.
Yeah.
So and
Well,
that's like I said, it's just one of the things that I was just curious how they did it and if they did it, and I'm glad they seem to at least do that part justice.
yeah.
And after that, there wasn't much else for me, and that was meaningful after this point. So yeah.
There's probably gonna be a pretty good YouTube supercut of like the best scenes from it, and that's probably gonna be, 45 minutes long, and that would be probably a better use of your time to actually just watch the best scenes of season two, um, that way. But yeah, and then I heard that I'm sure it's clear from the way the game plays, but uh, I read some news that the next season is going to be mostly about Abby because at the end of this season, the very end, they flash back to like a couple years earlier with Abby in the Superdome in Seattle, and and that's where they leave it. And I was like, okay, so they're gonna go back and tell Abby's story. But anyway, yeah, so that's probably how that's gonna go. The other show that I watched is Black Mirror season 7. Um, a lot of people were disappointed in some of the other seasons. I think like season 5 or something. I wasn't really paying attention. I thought whatever that season that was okay. But now, uh, so first I will say that season 6 was good. I remember season 6 being good pretty much all the way through. There's probably some duds in there, but season 7, um, season 7, the long and short of it is that I think every single episode was something that they had already done before. It's like, not exactly the same thing, but um, I remember just about. I think the Paul Giamatti episode was a little bit different than anything they'd done before, but not really different enough. So basically, the kind of the tropes of Black Mirror have to do with some of the same things over and over again. Kind of is a perfect clone of a human consciousness? Does that deserve, um, human rights? Um, that gets beaten to death again and again in this season. Um, and there's another thing that kind of pops up, like virtual reality. How how is that really going to affect us? The first episode out of the gate, I did have to skip about half of it. There's a point. I won't spoil it because it's a little bit too new, but there was a point at which they were showing you one thing, and then they showed you some what do you want to call it, like uh they were showing you one thing, and then they were showing you some lead up to like this this like torture porn, and I was I as soon as I made the connection, I was like, nope, I'm out, and I'm just gonna skip this episode and go on to the next one. Um, and that was like about 20 minutes or 25 minutes into like an hour long first episode, and I was like, well, that's not really setting a good pace for this season. The rest of the episodes were not really quite that much, but they were still kind of ho hum. So yeah, it to me it was a bit of a disappointing season. It's still, on its face well made. Um, they put a lot of money into it, and they try hard with everything. I think except the writing, like the writing just feels like it's kind of rehashed and reused, recycled ideas from older episodes. But yeah, so that's kind of the long and short of Black Mirror season 7.
All right, Netflix's finest at its best.
And then there was another thing I was going to talk about, but we're getting kind of long. There's still a lot left to talk about, so I'll leave that for next time.
All right. I'll just go through some of the things we watched. So I've introduced my child into an old 1992 gem called Three Ninjas. I actually think it's originally based off a Chinese film, like because I remember seeing a cover a long time ago that it's like it looked like the same thing, like three kids, the smallest one being like a fat tubby kid, and being like them being like fighting or something like that. And so I think it's just like a the American adaptation of an Asian film. But yes, this movie is aged like yeah, like milk right here. Really, it's one of those things that's like, oh, this is
so,
straight up from the
so
90s.
why are
This
you
is you
so
can't get
explain to everyone why you are watching this gem of a 90s children movie.
it's kind of funny because my kid there's a YouTube old music video YouTube thing called Chicken Attack. And in Chicken Attack, it has a ninja in it. And so I'm like, what can I show my kid without being like super like Mortal Kombat level of violence or something like that with ninjas in it, you know? Or like people getting like decapitated or something, you know, it's like and I'm like, you know what? I remember Three Ninjas, that being like it's like that's a PG thing from like the early 90s. I remember not being much older than him when I first saw it. So sure, let's go with that. And yeah, it's like it's kind of great in how bad it is because it's like a good campy movie. Kind of reminds you of like how it doesn't quite age as well, but like Big Trouble in Little China. You know, it's like
Mm,
it's a great movie, but for not the reasons what makes a
they
great
didn't mean
movie.
for it to be
And that
great like that, though.
and in this case, it's like it's very much at one point, so it's just like they cut all like backstory. They're like, yeah, we our grandpa's Asian and Japanese, and he's just training us on our summers to be ninjas.
I mean,
Just there you go. That's it.
these kids are
So
like
they're just
pretty much blonde. I mean, they don't look Asian to me at all. Are the actors
they're
Asian?
quarter. They're quarter. That's like that's it. You know, grandpa married a white girl, and
The half
they had a
white
kid
girl
who married
married.
another white dude, and you know, it's like so. Yeah, these kids are all quarter, so they're just enough. Um, so it's not racist because it's in their blood. Uh, yeah, it's oh, it's all the right kinds of bad. It's like it's a great game to like looking at it, I'm like, "Oh, this is like a drinking game kind of
Oh,
movie." Like
with
you
the
and your
kid.
buddies, like if you come up with the right things, like, "Oh, this would be fabulous." It's
Every drink, every time the kids do something that wouldn't work at all in real life.
it's like and their dad happens to be an FBI agent who's going after, like, a weapons smuggler who learned the ways of the ninja from grandpa as well, so they're all connected, and it's fabulous, in a terrible kind of way.
There's like a
This
dead
series
body, and he's like, I know these strikes. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, it's not quite Walker Texas Ranger where he tastes the dirt and he goes there, "Plane crashed here," you know, but yes,
I cocaine powder. I'm sure of it.
there was 4 of these movies, okay? Um,
Wow.
yeah, I forget number 2. Number 3, they go help some sort of, uh, like they help some they do some work on a reservation to help the I'm assuming like the bad white guy from trying to take over the reservation. Like it's super cringy. The fourth one had them it's literally them at an amusement park and Hulk Hogan's in it. So it's just like the wrestler of all things is
Yeah.
like wait a minute. He's in the fourth installment of a downhill series. That's incredible. Um
He was trying to make it in the movie industry, and that's sort of what led to his part of his rift from WWF at the time. Is he was like, I want to transition to movies, and they were like, well, we want you to not do that so you can be a wrestler and make us money. So it doesn't surprise. He was in some other bad movie as well, if
Oh,
not
yeah, dude, he was in
more. But
Suburban Commando,
that must
okay?
have been it.
Suburban
Yeah.
Commando was
Yeah.
amazing. He's an alien, that he yeah, it's that was super bad. Um, I think he was, there was another one, I'm trying to remember, it was him on a boat. Like, essentially, it was just like, uh, him fighting crime with his buddies, but they're on, like, a power boat. Like, what was it Thunder in Paradise? That was it, Thunder in Paradise. Look that one up. They even made a CD game like with visuals from it's terrible. great. I think they made a couple movies of that. Anyways, he was a terrible actor, Hulk Hogan. Um, so yeah, this Three Ninjas, it's a silly, stupid thing, appropriate for kids to the point. But well, actually, correction. The moment the kids come back from Grandpa's over the summer, they they're driving in Grandpa's convertible, going down the road, all singing on top of Old Smoky. Um, and anyone who was a kid in America, like, you cannot sing that song out loud as a kid in America now because there has teacher violence involved in that song, and it's just like, wow, I forgot about that song, and I forgot that that used to be a thing.
Wait,
Um,
is that the one like on top of the schoolhouse song?
on top of Old Smoky, all covered in blood.
Yes. Yes, I remember singing that song a lot when I was in elementary school.
And I'm like,
It was the
man,
funniest
times have
thing.
changed.
Oh man. Have you seen, gosh, I gotta send you this meme after 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 the podcast. But that reminds me of that. Three Ninjas. This is a movie that they should do a gritty reboot of. I think that could really work this day and age. All right,
But yeah,
yeah,
and then make them learn real combat, like, actual, like, some, they learn how to fight from the octagon instead. They just, brutally mounting and just wailing on people. I mean, you forget the movies from the 90s, early 90s that were kids movies are terrible in a lot of ways. I mean, the original Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones ac- accidentally murders Shredder. Like, he falls into a garbage truck and he literally hits the compactor on the garbage truck and goes, and he just shrugs his shoulders as he literally is crushing a man to death. And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, let's party!" And like,
that's
it's
murder
like,
in the
what the
first, bro.
yeah, oops. It was an accident. He said oops, so it was an accident. It was second degree, clearly not intentional.
That's
He put
25
his
to
arm on
life.
the lever and it just happened to murder this dude. And everyone just chuckles it away. Dude, like, once again, uh, it was a different time. So oh goodness gracious. So yeah, anyways, speaking of bad movies, following up your
Don't do
Andor.
that. Don't. I can see what you're gonna get us canceled.
So,
Revise
um,
and resubmit that
uh,
statement, please.
showing my kid Star Wars for the first time.
God dang it, shit.
Uh and I went ahead and did the appropriate thing. And of course I started with episode 4, as everyone now knows it as. But some people I guess call it A New Hope. And uh having to explain to a small child the logic behind a lot of things, you're like, oh wow, this points to a lot of flaws in the film. You're like, oh yeah, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Like just trying to arbitrarily, like, yeah, we're going to this scene now just because, and like, well, why are they doing that, or what's with that? I'm like, don't think about it, child. Don't ask questions. You're not supposed to, like, actually think about a Star Wars movie, because if you do, you realize it makes no sense. Uh like yeah. And actually looking back on it, I'm like, you know what? Episode 1 now makes more sense. Yes, if you just said midichlorians from the beginning, you'd be like, "Oh, that's why Luke
Oh,
can become a Jedi, like, learn to use the Force immediately." It's just like
because he has
after
a
doing
lot
some
of
VR training.
yeah, because he has a lot of midichlorians. The only thing about A New Hope that I thought was dumb as a kid, and I think there is an explanation for it. Of course, I don't think it's very good, if I remember right. But why Obi-Wan just decides to die? Uh, that's like the most like, well, give your buddy some more time to escape rather than just like holding your lightsaber still while he kills you. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's
spoilers. Sorry.
he didn't really make him that much more powerful, just saying. Like, he's like, "Yeah, I'll be more powerful." Like, really?
I
You
don't
weren't.
understand.
I mean, maybe
Is
you should have taken the high ground on that one. It's just
too soon? Um, eh,
so
I mean, yeah, it's like you're more powerful because now you can force ghost speak to Luke sometimes when you feel like it. Like, is that the
what
reason?
about all what about all the other Jedis who have ever lived? Why can't they force go speak to everyone? Like, they should have, like, they would have their own messenger network, right? They would just be like, "Dude, all right, here, I can give you tips on this. I'll give you tips on this." Like, there why
Well,
isn't there any other ghost?
you got to remember that in 19 was it 77, you know, eh, people were just not ready for this. And that's why it was such a huge hit, because it was like you were bamboozled by the special effects. I mean, you look at other movies that were coming out in 1977, and it is amazingly, beyond anything that anybody had ever seen. So, you know, you take that other stuff with a grain of salt. You're like, oh wow, this is so crazy, and I'm not really even paying attention to like what may or may not work perfectly. So
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I've
spectacle, it's amazing. It's amazing as a spectacle. But also we're watching it on Blu-ray, which means we're watching all the enhancements that were done in the
enhancements.
late '90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Lucas, you were an idiot, for changing it." But, I mean, you got to remarket all those new toys for and stuff. It's like, but my kid absolutely loves the Stormtroopers, and he thinks Vader's the best. So I'm like, "Alright,
He's
yep,
chosen
start that
chosen
immediately."
wisely. I mean, he
Yeah,
has the
right, I'm
cool
like, "Okay."
song. It's like Luke doesn't have his own freaking song.
He doesn't, and it's just like, honestly, Luke's kind of a whiny git, alright? Just saying it. And,
I,
Han doesn't even shoot first anymore, though he does shoot unarmed people, like, he just sees Vader and he shoots. I'm like, "You know what? Good credit. Good on you." You see him, you shoot first, ask questions later. Yeah.
like I have always been much lower on Star Wars: A New Hope than most people. It's most people. It just has a special place in their heart because it was like the first one that they saw and all this stuff. But like there's a lot of stuff in it that, I mean, the enhancements aside, there's a
Well
lot of stuff in it that I am just like kind of grit my teeth and I'm like, yeah, this is a nice first step, but it's the second two that I think are a lot better. But yeah,
well, Empire Strikes Back, so we rolled right into Empire Strikes Back.
as you do.
We showed him that one, and, that one is better. It is the better film. It has the more action sequences. Um, as the as someone who had some roommates that were the biggest uh like Star Wars nerds, they knew the extended universe like front to back kind of deal.
Wow.
Which then brings, it's like, because you're like, well, Han just goes ahead and uses a lightsaber with like no effort, and you're not supposed to just be able to use a lightsaber. But then he not anyone can use a lightsaber.
Like, why is that
And he
though?
because he's supposed to have a connection to an attunement to the Force. Uh,
Oh, okay.
it's like, at least that's the way it was brought up to me, introduced to me. Maybe, but that was also back when the extended universe still existed. So it's one of those things that, of course, those around Luke were always like somewhat attuned, and that's how like you can justify in a snowstorm a complete whiteout while he was how Han was able to find Luke, and then use the lightsaber to rip open a tauntaun, and also explaining that one to a young child. So I'm like, so it died, and now he's putting Luke inside of that thing like a sleeping bag.
That was a hard
Yeah.
one for me to wrap my brain around as a child too. I was like, that is effed up. Uh, yeah, yeah. Okay, go on. Yeah,
But anyways, no, overall, once again, Empire Strikes Back is still a better sequel. One of the it's one of those, few in the pantheon of the second is better than the first. Some people don't consider it a sequel in the right form, because it's like, well, technically, but it was number two out of a trilogy of a single story. So it depends on how you want to argue that. But I'm like, no, it's a better film, much more action, uh,
well,
easier to like.
I need to look this up again, but a long time ago, I deduced that the good Star Wars movies are the ones that were. This was before the 7, 8, and 9. The good Star Wars movies are the ones that George Lucas did not direct. Like he directed, could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he directed all three of the prequels, and he directed A New Hope, and then it was other people that directed um, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. I could be wrong about that. I was gonna look it up, but I don't know. It's definitely like the better ones. I'm pretty sure he did not direct.
Empire Strikes Back is Irvin Kershner.
Yeah,
So, and in fact, I didn't know that. So yeah, that you just dropped that knowledge on me.
yeah.
But it was one of the things that,
Well,
like I said, looking at this,
it's kind of like why
I can
the
see
Indiana
why.
Jones. I mean, because like he was heavily involved in the Indiana Jones movies too. Like that was one of the things that Steven Spielberg said is like Steven Spielberg was jealous of George Lucas. He said so jokingly, but he was jealous of George Lucas because George Lucas was so good at like what he was doing. Like the special effects stuff. Um, and I think they're two different things. You've got to have like George Lucas. For as much as anybody on this podcast might really hate him and the stuff that he's done since some of the Star Wars stuff, um, he is very good. He is very good at special effects. Um, Steven Spielberg is a very good director. I think that George Lucas is best when he's not in the director's chair because it's a different set of skills. It's a different thing. And I wish that we
So
had known that in time.
there's a story about how because Star Wars came out in '77, and so did Close Encounters, and both Spielberg and Lucas thought the other person's film was going to be more successful, and so they made a bet, uh, like to get a percentage of the other person's cut,
Mm,
like a 1% or something like that. Is at least that's the way the story goes, and they've honored it since, or like at least they honored it for a while. At least that's when I heard the story forever ago. And of course, Spielberg made bank in the end,
yeah.
thanks to Star Wars. But like, yeah, that's a good bet. But Close Encounters is a great film, but also really weird. Uh, but
Clo-
I absolutely love that movie, but it's also really really weird.
Apparently, close. I don't want to get too far off into Close Encounters, but I've heard that Close Encounters has a lot of stuff in it that is like pulled from reality. Like there is like the reason why it's written the way that it is because as far as we can tell, or as far as alien hunters or whatever know, that is like what happens
Putting on my
in.
tinfoil hat for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. It's anyway. There's plenty of Joe Rogan episodes about it. Like, what do they talk about it? And you could probably go read about it online. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that. And yeah, so every time we talk about Star Wars on the show, we get triggered and just start pooping all over George Lucas. So hurry up and get your kid to watch the rest of the Star Wars so we can get it all done at once. And then
I think yeah, I think I'm just gonna end it with with the last one here. I forget what is it? Empire Strikes Back, then it's
Return of the
Return of the
Jedi.
Jedi, and then we're just gonna end it there. We're just gonna end it, and then like there's no more Star Wars. Like, but what about everything else? I'm like, okay, I might show him like show him Mace Windu. Yeah, that he exists. Show him the
Mm.
animated, not
Oh.
not the Clone Wars animated series, but the little mini Clone Wars shorts. Though, like that was kind of similar to Animatrix that came out, like
Mm.
so just a bunch of small stories because Mace Windu does more damage and looks more BA in that little segment than he does in anything else. And I don't remember how true it is anymore, but it's like how he's the reason why his saber is purple is because he has that balance between the dark side and light side. So he does the blue and red, and that's what makes the purple. And I'm like, I always like that even if it's not true, I always like that anecdote.
I remember when I was a kid and they were about to have episode whatever 1 or 2 come out. He was in an interview and he was saying he just wanted to be part like in the show or just in the movie somehow. And I'm sure this is all played up, but like um they were like, okay, we'll see if we can find you a part. And then they had him on the set and they were like, what color lightsaber do you want? And he was like, oh shit, I get to be a Jedi. So I heard he got to pick his own color lightsaber, but I don't know. Um, I don't know. I kind of honestly, I think that your story is better. But yeah, so
I mean,
Uh,
all I gotta say is George Lucas looked at that and goes, "That's a great line of figures I can make with Mace Windu here. Yep, this character, like Samuel L. Jackson, he'll sell like hotcakes." Um, yeah, and that's exactly how he speaks too,
Hoth
because
ain't no planet I
he's
ever heard
old.
of.
But yeah, anyways, all right. So Star Wars is a fantastically mediocre franchise that's being driven into the ground heavily. All right. And on that note, what's some news you got for us?
Um,
I love you try to recover.
I need to go fix my will really quickly. Um, so Xbox Showcase 2025. I actually like this quite a bit. There's actually quite a few things on here that I was like, this is actually really good. Um, the whole thing is 2 hours, but the actual like, hey, here's the actual new stuff that you care about is only lasts about an hour. The last hour after that is just kind of in-depth stuff on games that they had announced. So we're just going to run through some of these things, talk about stuff that's more important to us. First up, Outer Worlds 2, showing that, kind of showing some of the story, a lot of the gameplay, and very soon, in terms of you know how long it takes to make games. This is planned to come out 10/29/25.
Yeah. How did you feel about the trailer? Did it move the needle for you at all? Because I know you didn't really play the first one at all. So
And you played a lot of the first one. Yeah, I
I
didn't,
think I've platinumed that one or
yeah,
like 100% of it.
yeah. You played a considerable amount of it. So, I a the first one kind of seemed kind of interesting to me. Um, but uh, not really interesting enough to want to like go in on. I've heard it's good, and I've heard all those kind of things. This seems like more of the same, and there's a lot that's coming out, and so to be honest, there's no way I'm going to be able to get to it. But it looks in a good way like more of what was working in the first one.
See, I don't know, the vibe I got from the trailer really threw me off because so since the first game was Obsidian developed, but it was published by Private Division, who no longer exists. And now it's, under being published by Xbox or so my problem is they seem to be really hamming up their version of humor, and I felt like the vibe from the original was more this dry, like blunt kind of humor. It's like tongue in
Oh,
cheek
okay, yeah,
and just kind of, but this is more like in your face. It really feels like that like Borderlands, like
right,
between like Borderlands 1 to 3.
yeah.
Like literally like here we are, we're funny, we're aren't we quippy, and like isn't this like this is the joke, and like before they were just like more like deadpanning it, but because they did it in such a way, because it was that tongue in cheek humor, like it's funny because it's dark, or it's because it's the delivery, and uh, everything else about it seemed like felt better. But like according to it could be more like that. The humor could be very much similar to the first one, but the trailer just very much seemed like they're hamming it up, and it very much felt like that later Borderlands vibe, where it's like. We're funny. Here's the joke. Here you go. Haha, laugh, laugh, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it really remains to be seen, because I think you're right that it is that was sort of off putting to me as I was like, oh, you're gonna make another joke about capitalism and how this game is Joe is like railing against capitalism while also being made by capitalists, who want to make a bunch of money off of it.
Which no, the after the fact, then you found out that hey, this is also Xbox's first $80 game. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I saw a meme about that, but I didn't know it was in reference to. Oh no, I did. Yeah, yeah, it was in reference to Outer Worlds. I was like, why are they talking about Outer Worlds this late, like this long after? I was like, maybe. And now I understand it's about Outer Worlds too. Yeah, which is almost. I mean, in like a like Allison or like in like an Alanis Morissette kind of way, ironic kind of way. Yeah, it is kind of funny that they're like, oh, this is a game about, joking, clowning on capitalism. Let's go ahead and make it $80 and like really lean into that joke. Um, yeah, I think that with it makes me sad in a way because they're they're kind of turning away from what got the first players, from what the first players of the first game really know about. But they do have to sell a game with a 2 at the end to new players. Like they have to get like new players in there. So whatever the way the game really is, we won't know based on the trailer because the trailer is going to have to dumb it down and play to a wider audience. So the only, I mean, like either way, are you going to play this game even if are you going to play this game to find out, or is there enough here for you to go, meh, I think I'm going to pass?
Well, I mean, after the showcase, the first hour, because it was like a 2-hour event, then they kick off with then going in a deep dive into the game, and I forget the guy they have doing the intro, and then is abruptly kicked out by someone else, a part of the studio, and I'm like, the way they do it to try to make it funny and like, oh yeah, you're done talking now, he kicks him off, and it's just like, I'm like, you're not funny, and
Well,
this bit is a bad bit, and I'm like, this is making me cringe. No, I'm not sticking around to watch this extra part. I'm done.
I,
Yeah, it's just
okay, so I was in, so whenever that happened, because I did watch enough into the next thing to see that same thing, and that was cringe. Whenever they kicked the other guy off, I was like, oh, this is kind of cringe. And he makes the jokes, but he was like trying to say how like the second one of every game is what is actually the great one because it introduces this and this. And he does have one joke in there where he's like the second one of this was better. The da 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 this is better. The second like, and that's why like my second marriage is better, And I was like, that's pretty funny. um,
yeah,
but
I know he thought it was, and I was just like,
but
okay.
like that one aspect of that joke that was like kind of funny. I mean, like he keeps going on, but I was like, yeah, you guys kind of lost me as it is. So yeah, I kind of agree
That's
with
why I
you.
said
I just
it
wanted to
feels like
give.
Borderlands 3. Yeah, it just felt like they were trying too hard, trying to chase after like it's you should be funny without like when you
Trying.
try to be funny and you
Yeah.
think you're funny, that's the worst. Is like when you're like, "Ah, this is great." Like that's when you kind of lose it. It's you kind of have to come out more naturally,
Like if you have to
instead
keep
of trying
doing
to
the
force it.
da-dunch, da-dunch, da-dunch after every time you try to make a joke, yeah, it is like, no, man, you're either funny or you're not. You can't tell me when to laugh.
So so this actually took a lot of wind out of my sails. Actually,
Okay.
I'm still interested in playing it when it comes out, but honestly, uh this whole thing with it, I really am like, I don't even know right now because like I said, with the game, the trailer that they showed, just really did not push in the right direction for me, and I'm like, well, we'll see. I mean, hell, but honestly, I'm not going to be there day one. I'll see the reviews, I'll wait for it, and maybe they'll win me over, but I'm actually not holding my breath. I'm actually expecting this to be not as good. It might be better in production value because the last one was kind of a very, that was a lot of people's being they were upset because it wasn't as a full-fledged Fallout game, right? They were
Mm,
expecting too much from it. I wasn't expecting that much from it, and therefore I was really happy with what I got.
um,
But a lot of people were like, "Well, it should be more like Fallout. It should be more like New Vegas and stuff." I'm like, "This curve your expectation, and once you do, this is a pretty awesome game." But that's just how I felt about it.
I mean,
So, anyways,
my
all
pre-
right.
that's my prediction for this one is that the gameplay will get better and the writing will get worse because that is typically how these sorts of things go whenever gameplay is good or fine in the first one and the writing is stellar. Good writing is hard. It's hard. It's lightning in a bottle. Especially if people leave or aren't the same. Good gameplay, is similar, but you can, especially if you have a hit on the previous one, you can put enough money and time into it and manpower to make it even better. Writing, you just have to have talent, and yeah, it's sometimes it's not there. So anyway, going on. Next game, High on Life 2. I played a tiny bit of this. I think you played some of this as well. It was funny. The first one was funny. For a little bit, I played it, but it just wasn't enough for me to stick around. So I imagine High on Life 2 will be more of the same.
Yeah. I like I said, I never finished the first one, uh, but I did enjoy my time with it. But I just also didn't feel compelled enough. I like some of the other stuff they did, like Trover Saves the Universe, and I think there's one other one that I can't. I'm just my mind's slipping. But yeah. Anyways, High on Life one was fun. Uh, I was surprised it's getting a sequel. So yeah, that's it. I'm not really expecting much from it. I'm not really lining up for it.
More interesting stuff. Resonance, a Plague Tale Legacy, was announced, shown. I had not heard of this already. They didn't show too much of it. They showed a different main character, kind of running through like an ancient sort of landscape, or like a kind of cave area, and then runs into a giant statue of a bull, or like a minotaur, kind of half buried with some weird glowy ropes around it. Um, and so they show that, and they show kind of what was going on there, and then they flash up Residence, a Plague Tale Legacy, and I was like, oh, okay, Plague Tale is not what I was expecting out of this at all. So
Well, this whole showcase for me, like you were kind of a little higher on it. For me, I felt like this showcase as a whole was mostly meh for me, with a few sprinkles of hey, that's I'm excited for those things, but for the most part, I feel like I was more let down by this showcase, or things that I might have been interested in, I was less interested in by the end of it.
so
Um,
the way that
and
you
so
so the way that you were with Outer Worlds, is the way that Outer Worlds 1 is the way that I am with this showcase, where I was not expecting, I don't expect anything good out of Xbox, you like really good out of Xbox usually. So that's kind of where I'm coming
Well,
from.
I wasn't expecting anything out of this either, but the things that they kept on showing me kept on disappointing me. Between the Outer Worlds, the High and Life, I just didn't care. A lot of things I just didn't care about, or it wasn't really like these trailers or these things were like either they were the few things that were interesting, they would be like coming far in the future, like stuff
Yeah,
like that. I'm
yeah,
like, well,
all
then
the
why
good
are you
stuff.
showing it to me now? Because then I really it went from ooh,
uh,
I'm interested to bugger off.
because we don't have
It's
anything,
just like
Joe, if we don't show you the stuff that's way far away.
well, that's and it's just you got to show the investors something, and like,
Mm.
well, with this one though, Resonance, a Plague Tale Legacy, I'm like, why does it have to be a Plague Tale game? Question, other than a name brand associated with it, but like it shows part of the logo. Like it has an intricate design. I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be like a maze, right? So that's the Minotaur in a maze. Is that the vibe you're going for?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah, it
so
was a maze. I didn't put that together. You're right.
yeah, so anyways, yeah, that was I'm like, okay,
Okay.
it really feels like you shouldn't have a Plague Tale associated with it, because I saw nothing but associated with plague in this. But all right, we'll see. How they shoehorn that this in the
I
universe.
mean, those first two games are good, apparently. So I think that this other one is probably going to be pretty good too. We'll see. Next up, Xbox Ally. Um, this kind of got leaked a little while ago. I can't remember how many weeks ago it got leaked. It's basically Xbox's handheld. It's a Republic of Gamers. I guess it's got an AMD chip in it. It's planned to come out holiday 2025. It looks, I mean, I don't think it comes apart the way a Switch does, but similar form factor to the Switch and the Steam Deck. Um, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Um, it's probably a good way to test the waters. Apparently, there's going to be a different one that Xbox is going to make, because with the leak a while ago, they were saying this is something from ROG, but it's not
I'm
the official Xbox handheld that will really like the real Xbox. I don't know. I remember reading that it's not that there's going to be another Xbox better handheld that they are still working on.
I'm pretty sure this is an NVIDIA built chip inside this, though.
Okay,
Um,
I mean
I'm,
double check me,
I'm pretty,
but Republic of Gamers is AMD, right?
no, it's ASUS.
Okay,
ROG is
okay.
ASUS.
Well, check me on the on the AMD because I'm 90% sure that it's that AMD card in there.
According to the ROG website here, it says NVIDIA.
Really?
So,
Then what did I see that
because
had
ROG is
AMD?
an ASUS product. But anyways, well, it's an AMD Riser
Oh,
processor,
the
but it
processor.
shows that
Okay.
it's supposed to be
Okay, that's
so.
what I saw then.
But it's all right. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's supposed to be um up to let's see to add the power of up to an NVIDIA GeForce 5090 GPU. So that's they're trying to be comparable. I don't know. I have to read more into it because I once again this one they did a really good job of teasing this one out and making it look cool. Like the whole gel cube molding it into the proper handheld, and
Uh,
then this one was the um, now the ROG Ally has been out for a long time. This has been the Steam Deck, one of
oh,
the Steam Deck
okay.
competitors. So
All right.
that's why it's just like, well, we're gonna do is we're gonna make it adjacent, and we're gonna go ahead with that, make it into an Xbox form factor, like sponsored one. You get to use
All
Windows, and
right.
like that's the biggest thing for like the part that's important is they're saying you can use like GOG and other things with it, Steam and like that. That sounds better, but when you're like a handheld powered by Windows. That does not breed any confidence because Windows kind of sucks when it comes to
Yeah.
these things. But if you're looking at like, hey, I can use other interfaces, great, because that's why it made such a big headline when Steam officially had their OS, on a different handheld. They're like, yeah, the official Steam OS on a handheld. That makes it better because it's a Linux,
Lens
spin-off,
base. Yeah.
and it's very much a faster, more responsive thing. So that's anyways, it's kind of moot point, but like I loved how they're like, yeah, here's Silk Song after it just got dissed by Keeley, just the other day, being like, with the Deadpool VR bit,
Yeah.
and then they show Silk Song on the handheld, and I'm like, oh, you better have like every single one of these better come pre-installed with Silk Song at this point, But
And
they are saying it's you're gonna be able to play Silk Song on it. Uh,
yeah, it's
so
gonna apparently be there at launch. I don't know about the original Ally, but this one is 24 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte storage for the higher end, 16 gigs of RAM, and I think 500 and something, 512 or whatever gigs of storage. I think I don't remember that second part, but I do remember that it was 16 gigs of RAM. So that's kind of a big disparity, but you know, I don't know. I can't remember what the if they showed the price point. I don't think that they did because I feel like I would have taken that down. But yeah, this is interesting. At least that it exists. The Ally's been around. I guess it's going to be the difference is that it's going to have Windows on it, which yeah doesn't inspire confidence. But it kind of goes along with their ESA, with their like Xbox everywhere ethos. Like this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox. Your microwave is an Xbox. Um, so the fact that they're laying the groundwork for that and continuing to try to do that is a good thing. I think if this thing comes out and you can jailbreak it, lickety split, and do some crazy PSP style stuff on it, then I think they're going to win a lot of hearts and minds. But we'll see how it goes.
yeah, so it looks like it comes with an AMD Ryzen chip, but then there's the
The
Boost
Ryzen, yeah.
Beyond with XG Mobile, which is the like an external interface, and that's what they're talking about. He's like, when
Uh,
you want to max out the throttle, the 2025 XG Mobile is ready. Connect with a USB four, let's see, 4 port, and ROG Xbox Ally X, you'll be able to add the power up to the GeForce RTX 5090 laptop, which is not a GeForce 5090 then, but whatever. There's crappy naming schemes aside. So yeah, apparently you can enhance it with an interface. So
Okay.
that's what I was confused on. All right,
I mean,
but yeah.
off the top of your head, do you know how this compares to a Steam Deck? To like, I mean, it's I don't even I don't know what a Steam Deck is able to do, but I mean, it's kind of
So Steam Deck by at this point is kind of underpowered,
because it's
kind
old.
of
Yeah.
a la like within these new handhelds, it's kind of like Switch adjacent, but the thing is everything off of Steam is optimized pretty well. So it does
You can
either
do
run,
more
it's
with
like
less.
it's yeah, kind of. It's like a lot of the companies, these developers are very much just instantly trying to spec for like having a preset for the Steam Deck.
Hmm.
And now a lot of these other ones are nice because you can like brute force and like overpower your way out of certain things, or you can tweak. And that's the thing is if you like to tweak and you're like, oh yeah, I want to
Yeah.
see, and I can't necessarily not twerk. I said tweak.
Oh
As I
no.
know you like to twerk.
Yeah, that's a me thing. No, I was just talking. I was just thinking about how PC gamers just like they like to play the mini game of like fiddling with the game before ever actually like you spend more time fiddling with the game and getting all the mods downloaded and getting everything just perfect before you ever actually even play the game. So you actually spend more time not playing the game than playing the game. Um,
That's the nerd logic, man. 3D
yeah.
print all the add-ons that you can to make your 3D printer better, and then by the time you're done, you're already done 3D printing because you've been burnt out. But you made it all. You made your system, all these cool parts for your thing to make it better. But anyways, as far as the like if you want to fiddle it with making 40 frames, or something like that, you want to like mess with certain settings. You can do a lot more with the higher end units, but at the same time, it's like a lot of the I think was Valve said that they're not going to make a Steam Deck 2 until there's a substantial like change. So people are
That's
wondering.
some Gabe Newell type shit. Like that's what he said about like that's what he says about like the games that they used to make that they don't make anymore. Is like, well, we wait until we have like a good idea or a good new mechanic for gameplay before we make another game. It's like okay, so yeah. Anyway, I've heard that before, and maybe it's true, but I don't know. It triggers me.
They're,
Sorry, go
they're
ahead.
too busy making money off of CS:GO. I mean, and
And
so
Dota
it's like,
2. Yeah.
yep, that's their moneymaker. But anyways, so uh, honestly, I like the form factor of this handheld. I know some people have gotten hands on it already. Uh, I think it's neat for a just a mobile Xbox experience. But at the same time, I just can't. If you have the console, I don't feel like you need the handheld unless if you're a person who actually commutes to work a lot or something like that. Um, but then again, I'm also it's one of those things that it's very much like the PlayStation Portal. If you have the need for a PlayStation Portal, then you probably have a need for this.
Mm.
But if you don't, then I don't see you really needing it.
But if this one can leave your living room and you still be able to play it, then
Some
uh,
people say, hey, they have success with that. I don't know. Once again, I personally, I know someone who plays remotely at their office with their portal, and their
is it a home
their
office?
PlayStation.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, they like literally they play across. And I'm like, all right, if your internet's strong enough, I suppose.
That's cool.
But anyways, it's a game that's not massively Twitch based.
I
You're
mean,
not playing Dark Souls or Elden Ring. So
I like this for like I don't know how much crossplay is available, but like with Nintendo, it's underpowered and everything is already but everything is there. Like you can play it at home on your big TV, underpowered, but it's there on your big TV, and then you can go on the bus to school or to work or wherever and keep playing. Um, if you want to play better, like quote better, um, more advanced technologically games, then Xbox is going to be kind of better for that. And so if you have that inclination and now you have an answer for like, oh, and I can kind of take a little bit of a hit but still get on the bus and play and all this stuff, and be able to play the games that I want to play, COD or whatever. So I don't know. It makes sense, but we'll see how it goes as it actually comes out in 25 or
Sure.
later this year. A couple other games. Blood of the Dawn Walker. This is a medieval action RPG where you are a vampire. You get to walk on walls. That's kind of cool. It looks okay. Um, Planned for
I was
2026.
not interested in this at all. I was like, all right, I'm just
I
did
mean,
not.
it's not going to move the needle for me, but I was like, oh, okay. Super Meat Boy 3D. Um, they showed the trailer for this, and I was like, but they hadn't said the name yet, and I was like, that looks like Super Meat Boy 3D. And then they were like, Super Meat Boy 3D, and I was like, okay, I guess the name right. Good deal. So I patted myself on the back for that. Next, Ninja Gaiden 4 coming out 10/21. Looks good. We've seen this before earlier this year or late last year or whenever it was. And looks much the same. So hopefully that will be as nice as it looks. Next up, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, The Order of Giants, coming out 9/4/25, so September 4th, 2025. You played some Indiana Jones. Are you excited about this?
Uh, I haven't beaten Indiana Jones, but
Okay.
honestly, I think that I want them to make more, and eventually they'll probably came out with like a complete edition or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I think this should be, like looking at what Machine Games has done in the past. Their DLCs are usually okay. I mean, the Wolfenstein, was it Old Blood, First Blood? I forget now. Anyways,
I think there's both, but yeah.
they're yeah. Anyways, their DLCs have been usually okay, so I don't see any reason why this would be a bad thing, and especially if you have Game Pass, it's going to be available to you automatically, I believe. So you should be good.
Yeah. A game I was excited about coming up next, Beast of Reincarnation. Um, this is from Game Freak, who I believe in the old days made Pokemon. Um, I don't know if they still do, but anyway, I was interested to see that name. Um, this is like a this is like over the shoulder action adventure game. Looks like with a female protagonist in this dystopian world where you're in the forest and you are kind of you fight these cyber monsters and other monsters. It's like cyber and foresty. Um, yeah, so you're basically like this Ronin style girl that goes around and fights monsters. Planned for 2026. Looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. This is probably the thing that got most of my interest for the show, but don't know too much more about it so far.
Yeah, I didn't care about this one at all.
Okay.
I'm like, Game Freak's doing, at least they're stepping out of their comfort zone, but for some reason it just was not hitting with me.
Well,
So I was just like, all right,
it did look very, it did look very different from some of the other stuff that I've seen. It looked more Monster Huntery, but also the monsters kind of looked um, better in some ways, like brighter, cleaner in some ways. So I was like, okay, well, you definitely have my attention. All right, next up, Clockwork Revolution. There's a puppet in this that says in a British accent, "Keep your filthy pickers off me." And for some reason that got a really big giggle out of me. Um, I have a note here. This definitely wins the award for the most voice acting. Um, they have a lot of voice acting in this trailer, and it's very over the top in kind of a good way, I think overall. Um, Looks like it's an FPS mostly, but also with a lot of RPG elements, with some clue style mysteries, weapon customization. The story is basically that the enemy rewrites history. and then you get the same power to rewrite history again, and so you rewrite it back to the good way or something like that. So it has quite a few mechanics that are going on. It's hard to tell what is what it's ultimately going to be like, but they certainly seem to be throwing the kitchen sink at it. So I was like,
Yeah.
go ahead.
This is the one where you look at it and you're like, "Oh, yeah, this just looks like, BioShock Infinite,"
It does, yeah.
but it still has my interest. I mean, it looks very much like BioShock Infinite, but this is, In Exile, is the studio that's making this. They're the guys who do the Wasteland series. They
Mm,
also do a Bard's Tale series, and they did, Torment, Tides of Numera, something like that.
Numenera,
Um
something like that. Yeah.
Yes, but anyways, so they have a good, RPG background and his like, story-wise, so, like, they should be, if on the writing front, hopefully really solid, actually, which kinda made me more excited about this game because not knowing I know they showed it in the past, I thought, but it's just like, "Alright, they could have some serious fun with this."
Yeah, yeah. The steampunk. It's not like hardcore steampunk or anything like that, but it's like that time period. That aesthetic is not really something that I particularly like. So I will probably pass just based on that. But looks like if you're into that, it could be pretty good. Next up, a dude named Matt Booty came out and promised to make all the games that they are going to have play everywhere. And I wouldn't have cared about that, but that guy's name is Matt Booty. So, okay. Anyway, moving right along, a game called Grounded 2, which is kind of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but the video game, planning to come out July 29th. They have in the beginning of the trailer, they have like a He-Man knockoff um, action figure with a TV show, and his name is Yoked Girth. I was like, that's that's pretty funny. So I appreciated that. Otherwise, I didn't play the first Grounded, but this one looks like more of that. Looks cool. So yeah. Going right along, Chronos: The New Dawn. Uh, Planned to release fall 2025. This is from Bloober Team, who did the remake of Silent Hill 2. Um,
Yep. Uh, this one looks kinda has that, Dead Space vibes to it, like, that gritty, body horror, like,
mm,
monstrous, concept. Looks, kind of can't really tell if it's like the Eternal where you're, finding remnants of yourself, like, if you're respawning or if there's just a number of, previous you had predecessors before you because they mentioned finding the body of and they say a serial number or something like that so can't really tell if it's going the returnal aspect of you finding if it's a if it's you're responding and you're like okay this is my previous character or if these are just supposed to be like explorers who gone before you but yeah it looks like it might be a good horror game and Blue Team's pretty good about they do stuff like Layers of Fear and Observer so like yeah they're this should be exciting because it's a new property
mm.
and it's kind of neat to see what they can do that's not a remake.
Yeah, it should be competent, if nothing else. Then we had a little ad for Elder Scrolls Online. Se- uh, Seasons of the Worm Cult coming out 6/18, so right around the corner as we record this. And yeah, so to all 10 of you that are still playing Elder Scrolls Online, have a blast. Next up, game from Don't Nod, planned for 2026, called Aphelion. Basically, it's a sci-fi game where a woman crash lands on an ice planet looking for a dude named Thomas. I wasn't paying close enough attention to see. I'm sure it's like her husband or something like that. Um, and so Don't Nod is the same ones that do
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange. That's yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. This didn't really look exactly like a Life is Strange type game. I got to be honest. I could kind of see some of the through lines. Looks pretty different, so I was kind of like, huh. I guess they're branching out, but it remains to be seen.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're gonna make it like if they're gonna try to make it super story heavy or not.
Seems more
Kind of
actiony.
curious, but yeah, very much. This one very much does, and then they do the long twist at the end where they're like, "Oh yeah, and it's going to be possibly a horror background theme because like they show
Right.
a the guy she's probably looking for, but like the door opens and then it's a red light and creepy monstrous sounds emitting from there. So
Yeah, like
yeah,
Cthulhu type
he's done
sucking
for.
sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he is going to fare well from that. Next up, also coming out 2026, There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. So basically, my notes here say you renovate the hotel and town, and then monsters come out and you have to fight them by also doing your renovation magic on them. There was a funny line in this that I took down. They will Wicker Man your ass. I thought that was pretty hilarious. Um,
And
otherwise,
that's when the game changes, and then there's an undertone that because at first it feels like it's just a happy-go-lucky renovation game,
mhm.
and then there's like okay, there's a mystery behind it all.
It would have
So
been kind of cool if you could have had that surprise. If it was like, oh, I'm playing this game, Pony Island style, like I'm playing this thing, and then boom, oh, it's actually a lot more. But I guess they have to get the right player base in. So yeah,
yeah, for
um,
sure. I mean, I think it's funny because it's like a Luigi Mansion esque thing, but
for,
at first glance,
yeah, it's a good way to put it.
I actually was more hopeful about this, but then I think I forget, was this the one that end like the pitch date was like way off as well. I forget, one of these games was like games come out whenever, like or like it
It
was
said
ambiguous. It didn't even give like a
it
year.
said
It was just like
whenever.
whenever games are. Yeah, yeah. It's like whenever ready or like things are
uh,
like I don't know. It was really stupid. I'm like, then why are you even showing this? You
don't
suck.
show me
Um,
that. I don't know. This one it did say 2026. Maybe I wrote it down wrong, but I'm pretty sure it
no,
said
you're
that.
probably right about that one.
Next up, um, Age of Mythology Retold, Heavenly Spear coming out fall 2025. So there's that. New game, new property, um, called Mudang Two Hearts, by EVR Studio, which the game is in Korean and the characters look pretty Korean. So I'm assuming EVR Studio is a Korean studio. This is a third person shooter action. You play as a SWAT guy and as a high school girl. Near future kind of time range. Look like there's some kind of a rage drug that makes somebody rage out. Uh, Name of the protagonist is G Giante or G Giante. Planned for 2026. This one I actually should have highlighted this one because this one I was like, okay, this actually looks kind of cool. I'm interested in the sort of the dichotomy, the duality of this SWAT guy and this high school girl. Like, how are we making this like work? So yeah, I was kind of like, this looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't really care about the K-pop aspect of this girl being
What?
like, like, but we need somebody helpless for stealth missions. So there you go.
There you go.
I'm actually curious if they have a real good story reason for why, not just like, oh no, I dropped my keys in this weird building. Here I am. Oh, I stumbled across something strange. I don't know. It's I
Uh,
though the military the military guys look cool military future semi futuristic look. So it could be cool. When I saw the Rage thing, I'm like, 28 days later, like that we just got done. I know the new movie just came out, so I was like, all right, or it's coming out. I don't actually remember, so I was just like, all right, Rage virus, it is.
the stealth missions are cheaper to design. That's why they have her. Next up, Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf. I had no idea about this game existing. Planet of Lana, the first one. It has a nice 2D art style, very pretty. Pre-modern civilization is attacked by these techno aliens. Planned for 2026. Um,
Yeah, it's funny because it's like 2D scrolling and it's like it looks like a more colorful and nicer version of like was it Inside? Uh,
Not quite so
it's just like
dark, brighter,
yeah, well,
more pixely.
it's colorful, but it's very much the same. It feels like the same kind of gameplay. Run forward, hide, jump to the thing, avoid, capture. Like it doesn't seem like it's very difficult. Not quite walking simulator esque, but it has a story to tell, and it's not going to be difficult for you to find out what that story is. That's the way I feel. But it looks awesome, and hey, if it has a good story along the way, then it'll be worth the time. Uh, but yeah, the arts, like I said, the art style looked really good, and it exactly like, wait, this is number two, or is this like
when
11?
when did Planet
I don't
Atlanta?
know because I don't know the previous.
I mean, I assumed it was a two. It's like, yeah, Planet Atlanta started way back on the Nintendo, like the NES.
It was a
Um,
mobile game, and they just made a bunch of them. Okay,
it was on the Nokia. I guess they still have Nokias now, but you know what I mean. Oh my gosh, that would that would be hilarious. Next up, Fallout 76 expansion Gone Fission. Um, yeah,
this was so stupid. Okay, because this one opens up. It literally opens with, and it shows. I actually took a screenshot. It's Windows Central Fallout 76 best ongoing game like 2024. Windows had made its own award to give to this thing, right?
I
Because
did.
or whatever
I
Windows
noticed
Central is, but
that,
it's just
but
like,
I didn't. I was like, oh, I guess it won some stupid award. I didn't realize that they made their own
well, once again, I'm not sure what Windows Central is. Like, it could be a news outlet or like an actual like legit art. Like, I don't know, but I feel like
state-run
it
newspaper.
sounds like and it feels like they generated their own thing just to give their own dang thing an award that no one cares about. It's like saying ADP, like ADP, like Another Dead Pixel best podcast ongoing podcast from ADP award. Like because the anime one we dropped, and so this is the only one that's ongoing. But it's just like it just felt so dumb, and I was just like, all right, whatever. Uh, Besides the point, I guess. Yeah, they made a fishing mod for this. Whoever still plays it, this feels like an MMOs. Like in the right, you have to be the right age or the right headspace to play to get like deep into an MMO. I feel that society has moved on as a whole, but at the same time, I remember fondly playing MMOs back in the day.
Uh,
So but I was like, who
so
wants? I just don't want to build a Fallout shelter and or like a ramshackle town. And I sure as
literally,
heck don't like fishing games, but I don't want to be doing
it's,
mutant
it's
fishing
not
games.
fishing.
Yeah.
It's fission. So it's not fission. It's fission. So literally just this morning, I was in the break room talking to somebody who confessed that they played a lot of Fallout 76 and they admitted that they knew that it was like not a good game, officially, but that they really liked it. They liked going around. They'd never spent any money on anything, but they just played a lot of it. And I was like, oh, so you're the one. And Yeah, so there are people out there that played Fallout 76 unironically, and apparently they still exist. So have fun, guys. Next, solo leveling, Arise Overdrive coming out fall 2025 for some things. I think it was Xbox stuff, and then other things 2026. Not sure why that is. Um, yeah, I don't really know anything about this game. It looked like some kind of an action game, but yeah. Anything you have to say about it?
Uh, no, I was like, I feel like if you're there's only one of two ways you can make this game. You can either make this like a boss rush kind of game where you just want like you have to go against really hardcore bosses, or you turn this around and make this a Muso game, Dynasty Warriors style.
Mm,
Um, like 1v like 100. But then if you can go from Dynasty Warriors to Dynasty Warriors like Empires, where you're controlling the troops, because that's the whole thing is like he fights on his own big bosses, but then he just sends his hordes to do the mass murder as well. I don't know. I don't see this playing out to be a good game. I
no,
hope it is kind of that'd be neat, but like I most anime adaptation games aren't really that great, and it didn't really give me a good vibe of what kind of game this actually is. So yeah. That's it.
I think the best we can hope for out of this is literally like a 5.5 out of 10. That would be high, but we'll see. Next up, Animo. Not anime, not animu, Animo. 2026 planned for. This is a very bright, colorful game that seemingly is targeted toward a female audience. The protagonist is a girl, and it seems like a Pokemon game in a lot of ways, but it's very bright and pretty. And Yeah, looks like it probably wouldn't be bad if you're into those things.
I think this is where this person turns into said Pokemon and then traverses the world. So that's kind of how they're going to get around
Not
Nintendo trying to sue them for Pokeballs or trying to sue them for gliding. So that instead you'll just turn into whatever animal and then you can hover or glide however they do. Um,
they're not
this was
Pokeballs, they're Anipearls. Okay, go ahead.
uh, yeah, you and your Anapurls. Five deep. All right, so the when it comes to this, I remember this having a like there's a couple of them that have the theme songs that were just like misplaced or just bad. And I can't remember which one this like what exactly category, but I just remember this being like, yeah, all right, just get this over with. But it does look anime cute. So and I honestly think you say it's for girls. I think you're gonna get more guys to play this than you are girls.
I
All right,
mean,
just
that's the
saying.
dirty secret, Joe. But you're saying the quiet part out loud. You know,
I,
let's keep it on the
you
hush
and your
hush.
Anna man. I mean,
Man.
whatever, dude. It's all good. All
This is
right,
definitely has
next.
a definitely. I just looked at it like, okay, this is definitely not targeted towards me, so I'm just gonna let it go. Um, Tony Hawk came out to talk about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. It's 3 plus 4, so I guess this is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 7. It's gonna have Doom Guy in it. It's like a remake coming out July 11th, 2025, so very soon. Yeah.
And it has Michelangelo. But yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah. It does have Michelangelo in it. Um,
I don't remember if it was ever in the original. I stopped playing by 3 and 4. I think I moved to the Underground series by that time.
I remember
So
playing two and two being freaking amazing. But yeah, I think I had knocked off by the time 3 and 4 came out. So yeah, whenever they can get Donatello in there, I'll actually pay attention. But until then, sorry. Anyway, it does look pretty cool. So if you're into Tony Hawk's, and then this is probably one for you. Next up, A Fate's End. I had this bolded. I don't even remember why. Oh yeah, 2D action game, kind of nice art style from the makers of Spiritfarer, which I never played. But You're a warrior girl. Sometimes you have brown hair, sometimes you have white hair, depending on whether or not you've gone Super Saiyan. It's a fantasy setting. You have this like red armor that looks pretty cool. There's like these tarot cards that are popping out and helping you decide what powers you're gonna gain or something like that. Um, at Fate's End, looks okay.
I really didn't like this one. I think it was just the art style. Something with the art style just didn't mesh with me. I'm like,
It,
it
I'll
needed a little polish.
Yeah,
It just looked messy.
like it
Um
it was okay to me, but I definitely see what you're talking about. It's
It
like
reminded me of an indie Flash game. Like that's kind of
mm,
like that's I think what bothered me is like it wasn't quite there
the
to the
smoothness
extent
wasn't there.
of yeah, and it's just the actual the actual quality of the drawings. There's just something about it that really just did not mesh well with me. And I know it's probably that this is probably just a me thing, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, I want to like you, but you are the art is just enough off that I can't get behind it because it's going to bug the crap out of me. Now, maybe when it's fully fleshed out, it's there and like that you're seeing proper scenes and the actual gameplay, like without being jump cutting to everything. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, maybe it'll flow better, and I'll change my mind. But I was just looking at it like, I mean, I don't know, just it turned me off. I was like, all right, well,
yeah,
but Spiritfarer was a cool game, and like, but it was different, and yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm not sure what to expect of this, but I hope it's well because Spiritfarer was solid, and I kind of hope that these guys continue to make. It's nice that they're making something different too, which is cool. Like you're not just doing a Spiritfarer 2 kind of, like or something
Yeah.
adjacent. You're completely doing something unique. So good for you. I want that to succeed. So
I do see what you're talking about. I think I'm just maybe a little bit more inclined to like this art style in general than you, so I'm going to be a bit more forgiving about it. But I do kind of see what you mean, where it is close to like not much worse, and this would look pretty bad. So I agree with you there. Next up, Gears of War Reloaded. This is a remake of the original game, right?
yeah, they've had this underway they've announced for a long time.
Okay.
So it's this is supposed to be coming to PlayStation as well. That was
Mm,
another thing is they showed quite a few of these things saying, showing PlayStation on the bottom as
yeah,
well. And I
there
was
were there.
like this is really weird to see. But this is our new future. I recently played through the last remake of the Gears of War, which I forgot what it was called, and with a buddy who never played it, and
Hmm.
they were actually surprised how much they liked it. Um, but it was funny because they're like, one of the things they said in this trailer was like, revolutionary gameplay or something, or like it changed the world. I forget what exactly they said, but I'm like, yeah, you didn't really though. I mean, at the time in the first couple of years afterwards, you could have said that, but like this far removed, we no longer do the thing that you made popular. Like
Oh,
we aren't like like the cover based shooting
cover, yeah.
gritty dirt look, like we
What's
don't
that
really
game
do
called?
that anymore. So you didn't really make a staple, you made a fad.
What's that game
um
called? What starts with a V? Came out. It's same people that
Vanquish,
V. It was Vanquish, wasn't it?
the Sega game, or I think no, Platinum.
It was a Platinum
Wasn't
game.
Vanquish
Yeah,
Platinum?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That one
yeah.
was super fast, cover based. It was pretty. It was like it was in the same great Platinum era game as Ninja, not Ninja God, Metal Gear Solid Revengeance or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, and yeah, and about the same time as like right before or right after Bayonetta. So yeah,
But it's like it's that same era of like, yeah, this is them at their peak, just
it
doing
was the
great fast pace, over the top. You
yeah,
know.
it was the golden age,
Anyways,
or should I say platinum age of platinum? Anyway,
but there you go. But yes, the anyways, Gears of War. I actually like the Gears of War series, as cheesy as it is, but it's also a series that I kind of grew up with. So it's one of those things that like I wouldn't mind playing through this, but at the same time, I have not played the latter games in the series, like
yeah.
4 and 5. So yeah,
Next up, Persona 4 Revival. This is a remake of Persona 4 that we have been pretty sure was going to happen, but no one would admit it. This is the voice actor thing that was going on. I talked about a while ago. Anyway, there was no release date on this, and it does show a little bit of gameplay, but mostly it's just a
like a
tiny
whole like 4 seconds,
of you
you
walking
know,
through the town. It's just a tiny teaser trailer, more or less. And I
and the fans
looked.
are hating it.
Are they?
Like literally, they're arguing about the color and like what little they've gleaned. I'm like, come on,
Well,
guys. Like
you're the Persona deserves better than this. I'm sorry. Like Persona deserves a better trailer, a better splash than you know Fallout 76 or even At Fate's End or a lot of these other games. I mean, maybe it's just me and my love for Persona 4, but I mean, like, this is the one that did the thing for the series to me. I think the numbers of sales bear that out as well. So the remake, I feel like they need to be more careful with. And this piddly little trailer, um, maybe I'm not reading the room right, but like to me that there needed to be more. And anyway, people online, I had to go look this up. People online are guessing that it's going to come out the second half of 2026, but they didn't say because they didn't say hardly anything in this trailer. So anyway, it exists, and it exists. Yeah. Next up, Sea of Thieves, Smugglers Tide, Season 17, coming out August 25th. So have fun with that. Then Invincible, like the comic, is having a fighting game. It's going to be a 3 versus 3 tag fighting game. Um,
So, yeah, PlayStation and their Marvel property can go suck it. It's like it's I don't know, it's coming out after the PlayStation event, knowing that
the Marvel, yeah,
was it Arc Studios is
Arc
doing
System Works.
the Marvel game, and then you're looking at this and you're like, yeah, ouch, not the best time to release your new fighting game, huh, buddy?
You better
So
come out before
yep,
those other guys because this
yeah,
looks very ho hum. I'm like, I don't really know the
uh,
Invincible universe, but I mean, I'm like 3v3. Isn't that like most of the characters? I mean, maybe there's a lot more. I don't know, but
it feels like it's DOA. That's it, like it really Dead on Arrival, not
yes, not
like
dead or alive.
yeah, yeah.
You can't
So
say
no,
anything
like this.
anymore. Everything is taken.
Well, yeah, exactly. I know. It's just it really does. It feels like it's going to come out and be buried immediately. So I
Yep.
don't know, man. I feel bad for the people because especially when like there's people trying to make this game and they are about to get swept aside real quick. So
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
like I mean, I didn't catch if there was a if there was a release date. I was doing pretty good about that. So if there's not one, then yeah, they need to come out before the Marvel one, way before, and it needs to be really good. So Dead on Arrival sounds about right. Um, Next up, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade coming this winter to Xbox, I presume. Final Fantasy 16 available now. Cool, cool, cool. Next up, Keeper from Double Fine. This is a game called Keeper, coming out October 17th, 2025. My notes say interesting art style. It's a puzzle game. Oh yeah, you're like a bird on a top of a lighthouse that is traveling through a colorful world. Um, and yeah, so kind of unique. I've heard of Double Fine before. I
I just
don't.
talked about Double Fine games. I like their adventure games, but it's just like
Uh,
this just didn't do it for me. I'm like, I don't care about this character. I mean, I feel like it's really weak. I don't know. I have 0 interest in this. It's kinda sad because, like,
yeah.
the only reason why I even give it a shot is because it's Double Fine.
Mm,
But I wasn't, like, a big Psychonauts fan, though, I'm an outlier in that one because a lot of my friend base that did play it loved it,
friend
so,
base,
uh, yeah.
your player base, your friend base.
Yeah, it's
um,
just like that group, that Venn diagram of people who like Double Fine of my friends, it's like most people don't care about adventure games, that I know,
hey,
and most people like I said, Double Fine is a unique group that the stuff they make is usually pretty solid, and they've had a fun and interesting history.
mm,
So I'm kind of glad they're still making games and they're still doing it like their own way.
yeah.
So I really kind of like they always feel like an underdog because
Mm.
they've never like hit it rich kind of. Because
It's like
they've always been
Supergiant
struggling to make the
before.
next game.
It's like Supergiant before
So
Hades. If that's what I'm thinking of. Did Supergiant make Hades?
they weren't Hades wasn't what but they were doing good beforehand. I don't understand what you're um
They were
so
making good games and they were selling well, but I think whoever made Hades, Hades was like, oh shit, we're gonna make a crap load of money here. Um, like that was my perception of events.
Okay. I see what you mean. And I mean, uh, I see that when it comes to yeah, but when it comes to Double Fine, it's just like they almost went under a couple times. They have a great little
Mm.
backstory. Microsoft, like they're like the only time that you ever hear a story like Microsoft helped save the little guy. Other than that, it's like Microsoft buried everyone else. Um, you know, so it's like they're the outlier, and you kind of like, but at the same time, you always feel like they're a hair's breadth away, a mediocre game away from being just canceled, like just shut down. And it's
Kids,
like, especially in today's market. So I'm like, that's why I see this. I'm like, I have 0 interest in this thing. This does not look appealing at all. It and I'm sorry, but it's like it's so. Anyways,
Kids,
fingers crossed.
this is
I'm wrong. You know.
kids. This is why you need to have blackmail on very important people, so that you can survive when you have to. It looked okay. Elaine, this game Keeper, it looks fine to me. It looks weird, slightly weird. So that has piqued my interest. Um, Last but not least, final thing with the show. I think Phil Spencer came out, and besides the ROG thing, I think he came out, or the ally thing, he came out and at the end here and was like, we're, kind of gave you the pep talk and stuff like that. And then he said, we got one more thing to show you. And that was Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Nice story trailer in here. I don't remember much about completely tuned out at this point because I don't care about Call of Duty. But the graphics look nice, and so I was going to ask you, did they show anything about the gameplay?
Uh, Honestly, the thing is, Black Ops is a continuing story that I don't know,
Okay.
because I only played the first two and then I played six, so I cut out
You
there
are the
for a
resident
big chunk of
expert
it.
of Black
Um,
Ops on this podcast.
and then this like all I remember is looking at him like, why does that dude look familiar? Why? Like, is that the dude from Heroes?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
of
Milo.
all the people to be, and I was just like, oh, I'm like, all right, he's socially relevant. I mean, he looks the same, I guess, but yeah, it was just, I don't know. At
Milo
this point, another,
Ventimiglia. That is an Italian boy right there. Milo Ventimiglia is his name. Yes, he is the main character in this game.
yeah. I mean, I like myself a Call of Duty story. They're silly and dumb. But once again, it's just like this as far as these go. I'm like, I'm okay with them rebooting Black Ops, dude. Just reboot it at this point. Go for it.
Let's do it. Let's
I
do
think and also make all the previous campaigns sellable at a cheaper price. Dang it, because I don't want to pay an absurd amount for just the story.
it. Yeah.
All right, yeah, that I really wasn't that like as their final thing. That was a disappointment
Well, there you have it, folks.
because
I'm
they
gonna.
were making a new Call of Duty game. Did you know that? Did you know that they were going to make another Call of Duty game? I bet your mind was blown that another Call of Duty game was coming out. Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. There you go.
That was it for the Xbox developer thing. This podcast is getting very long, so I'm just gonna run through the other news that we have. Mind's Eye launch has been a proverbial shit show. Uh, Two executives left the company 1 week before the launch of the game. People were complaining about issues with the game. PlayStation, notorious for refusing to issue refunds, has been issuing refunds based on things that they are seeing. So there's that. One of the creators, alluded to the idea that Rockstar was behind the review bombing and general, like, bad stuff that's been going about the game. But um, the review they didn't send out review code before release, so I think that the Occam's razor of this is that they probably knew the game was not going to be great. They are apologizing left and right, and they say they're working on all the issues. So there's that. Next up, Spaceballs.
The
Go ahead.
wait, real quick. So the sad part about this is IO Interactive's like first publishing debut,
Uh,
because they helped publish this, and it's just like, oh, because they also had like a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, announced the Hitman, or maybe yeah, last week it was like the Hitman crossover thing for this
mm,
game, and for it
all
to come
right.
out this broken. I mean, there's a lot of memes of bad animation. The game's just buggy and broken all around. Uh, there's there's a lot of blame to
Well,
go around. It's just like I was really like I was optimistically hopeful on this one because it was like was it Leslie Benson like
yeah.
being a part of this, and like, hey, well, obviously now you kind of look at it like, well, I guess the talent really maybe stayed at Rockstar. um
Ooh.
the other
Sick
thing was
burn.
this was this was built off the corpse of a different idea. I forget what it was called now, but this was like there was a
Mm.
different thing, it was like everywhere or something like that it was called. It was supposed to be a concept of a different thing.
I
So
think
having
I
not
remember.
realized that,
I
yeah.
I remember what you're talking about. I remember what you're talking about, but
Uh,
I can't place it. Yeah, like I think that whether or not Rockstar is behind review bombing this, which I kind of doubt at this point. Um, I do think in a roundabout way they did ruin this game, um, because with like their plan to release GTA 6 like ever, I think that it would have looked bad at first, but I think that as soon as Rockstar pushed back their date for um for GTA 6, this game should have immediately pushed back their date.
So the funny thing is, this all they should have pushed back the date without a doubt. But the thing is, this isn't actually a GTA clone like we originally thought. This is actually way more linear structured,
Mm-hmm.
apparently. And that's some post game you found like if you leave too far area, they cut them. They end the mission. You have to drive all across the map for four missions, but there isn't actually like the free roam capability that you have in a GTA game.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the other thing. Is it's
But
like okay, so coming from the developer, coming from who you thought it was, like, oh, okay, this is going to be a GTA clone. Turns out very much not a GTA clone at
well,
all.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. So the reality is what you're talking about. The reality is that this is not a GTA clone. This is not like a GTA like game enough or whatever. But in the way that perception is reality, this is a GTA style game. So whether or not it's real, the perception is, and whether it's not their fault, the perception still is, hey, this is GTA from a guy that did GTA. So it's going to be, you're getting a lot of that audience. And normally I'm like, you just leave it alone. But if it's between egg on your face and having to push the date back a few months to like, oh, we have to like issue refunds, that's way worse because you're leaving a terrible taste in people's mouth who like bought the game. I mean, if you're buying the game day one, you are that is your super fan right there. That is your diehards. You cannot let them down. At least not this bad. So yeah, they really should have pushed this back. I know it's business is harder in real life, but you know,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they have Alex Hernandez in this game, and I really liked him in Mafia 3, and he's like, and it's a shame that he just got saddled with this. So
I mean,
all right, well that's it. Like Mind's Eye complete bust.
well, I
It'll
mean,
be
hopefully they
interesting to
can
see
get
what
it.
comes of it.
Hopefully they can get the bugs fixed, and then we can see. Okay, was this game good? Does this game have a good core gameplay? Because if it's just like, oh, people, that things are just breaking, then it's like, well, that can be fixed.
Apparently the missions are really bad and the
Oh, just
shooting is
bad. Oh,
mediocre. It's a
yeah,
bad game. Like even bugs aside,
it's bad.
apparently
Oh.
yeah, it's from top to bottom, it's just not, or soup to nuts as you would say. Yeah, this is not a good game. But it's a great game if you want to see a train wreck. Is kind of the thing. It's like
Assassin's Creed Unity
best to
style.
watch. Yeah, kind of the facial features from that, but with everything else. Um so once again, it's
Uh,
just I feel bad for IO Interactive for backing the wrong horse on this one, and it's just like so. Hopefully, that Bond game pulls in the money that this obviously isn't
I
going
mean,
to.
I mean, it actually makes sense for a first-time publisher to make this kind of mistake. You're a first-time publisher, and you have a big name from GTA making a game, and you're asking to see what it looks like. He shows you, and you're like, well, this guy knows what he's doing because he did this other stuff. And so you let it ride because you don't have experience saying no, and he has experience pushing stuff through. And that's where the Venn diagram crosses and you have a fiasco like this. So they will probably, I mean, it sucks, but everyone has to learn this lesson. IO publishing will probably learn a lot from this, and their next foray will probably be a lot better. Fingers crossed.
Yep, just like Nick with his, animal, balls and, not having any experience and then pushing it all the way through. Yeah, we just gotta move on to the next, news article now.
That was completely uncalled for. Um, Spaceballs 2 is happening. So may the Schwartz be with you. Plan for 2027. That's all we really know right now. Um, People are liking Dune Awakening. I don't care about this game, but people are liking it. So if you like Dune and you like games people like, then I guess go play it. Stellar Blade is on Steam and selling super well, and people are enjoying playing this game and not doing anything else with it. They're only playing it.
Yep, they're not doing any 3D modeling or nothing like that. They're just taking it for face value.
Just completely
Um,
face value. People have been excited to play this game on Steam as opposed to PlayStation, simply because they like playing on their computer more. Okay,
Also, the Stellar Blade did a collaboration with, Nikke now,
I
so
know you
you can
texted me
now get
that, and
Eve.
yeah, yeah. Is it so?
Uh,
Is it
so
Stellar Blade and Nikke, or is it Nikke and Stellar Blade?
Stellar Blade and Nikke.
Okay, so okay,
So they have that they have their own MacGuffin of why how they can get different properties to cross over into their thing. But anyways, I had specifically since I've been playing this game for a while, uh, it is my guilty game. I ended up saving like enough in-game currency to do like 70 pulls to get nothing. To get the SSRs that are even rarer because you're supposed to be able to get Eve. And I'm like, my buddy's like, first 10 pull, boom, got it. He sends me a screenshot. I'm like, you piece of crap. Here I am, like 40 pulls deep to get my first offbeat character, and I do another 30 to get two more offbeat characters. I'm like, statistically, I shouldn't be getting this. Like, but like the game is literally out to mess with me because I'm like, I don't know, I have the worst luck with it. So I'm like, I probably after this event, I'll probably be done with it because I'm like, I was curious to see how they're playing it. They have a neat story with it. They kind of anime modeled, like they turn the Stellar Blade characters a little more anime esque, but they have full voicing. So they have Artemis, Eve, and Adam. Them three are in story wise, so it's neat.
cool, cool. This is from Video Games Chronicle. Sony says it will continue to adjust PS Plus pricing as more players choose higher tiers. There was a Reddit commenter that just put this phrase. He said, "Adjust equals increase," and I thought that was very spot on and very funny. So yeah, this is something that I thought was really weird. This is one of those things where it's like marketing gets involved and they're like, "What's the number?" And they're like, "It's bad," and they're like, "No, we just have to find the way to make it good." So I did a little bit of digging, a little bit of investigative journalism here, because I was like, wait, are higher tier customers increasing, or are lower tier customers just dropping out completely? Um, Google AI says there has been a slight decrease in overall subscribers, but the higher tiers have grown. So to me,
There's a reason behind that though, because during the Black Friday event or the Christmas event, and then currently writing right now, the you can if you're a current member of PlayStation Plus, you cannot re-up at the cheap price. If you do not have it, you can do the essentials for a cheaper price. But if you are currently like the base bottom market person, you can then re-up. You can't re-up, but you can between now and your expiration date, you can upgrade for a far cheaper price. So therefore, you can
mm,
upgrade to the extra or the premium tier for cheap, and that's how they're getting higher subscriptions at the higher price point.
they just
So
lowered the
it's
price point of the higher tier, and so they made
yeah.
it a better
So
value.
they're forcing you to like if you want to, they're making upgrading far cheaper, and they're hoping then by by the time your thing expires, you're automatically locked in to get suckered into paying the high price.
You're just ready to pay the price because you forgot about it. Okay, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, well, yeah, that's I
And a
was
lot of people are bailing now. People are starting to bail because they're sick and tired of the price increase, and they're not really getting the best value for your buck, and having to pay to play online, but you're not getting the overall value of it. So a lot of people have started to skip out.
well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, like, because to me on its face before you said that other thing, to me it was like, well, it just seems like you're not really doing enough for your non-premium customers to like keep them around at least a little bit. You're either making them upgrade or get out. Um, a little bit, it sounds like they are giving kind of a better deal on those, so they're kind of tricking the numbers there, which is also like you don't need to be bringing this up because people are going to start looking at it and going, "Hey, there's weird stuff here," and then you're going to look worse. But whatever. But I did see a lot of Reddit commenters saying, where is the "I just want to play online" tier? Um, and I guess that is the basic, but I still feel like the basic is priced in such a way that it's like, well, you just pay a little bit more and then you get all this extra stuff. And I know that's the game. They're trying to get you to pay more all the time, but at the same time, it's just like, can I just like have a nice, easy, reasonable price to just get the thing that I want? I'm already buying your games. I'm already playing online. I'm already spending money on Marvel Rivals or whatever, other, cash cow you have, Fortnite. Can I just can I just do this?
well,
And
that's
people
the
are
thing
getting
is
sick of it.
those kind of games like Fortnite, you don't have to pay for the online subscription, and but most other games you absolutely do, and that's kind of
Uh,
where things fall apart. I think it's I only stick with the essentials. There is some nicer perks with extras. I don't see enough reason for me to go to premium. Uh,
Premium's hard.
and
Yeah,
uh, yeah, I mean, like I said, currently they're running the sale where it's quite a bit cheaper between now and the end of your subscription. They give a huge discount. But I just don't have a desire to play my PlayStation 1 games or to stream.
yeah,
So that was like if you had the PlayStation Portal, streaming you can stream straight to the handheld now. So that at least makes it a little bit better. Uh, but once again, it's just there's not for my personal use. I don't really see it being that great, and things are only getting more expensive, and that it does stink because back if when it was 50 or $60, that's fine, but they're slowly increasing it, and by using that metric, that's a pretty crappy way to do it because they're like, yeah, they are enticing people with a huge sale to just temporarily bump themselves up a tier or two, and to the end of their subscription, uh, potentially getting them to forget and locking them into another year of higher tier. But also, they also can then show the superiors. Hey, look at all these people who are on these higher tiers now. Well, like yeah, because that was the only sale you had. You didn't have an option for the average person to renew their baseline subscription. It had to, it's like so for anyone coming off the streets or like anyone who uh, their renewal ends in the weird wonky middle phase. And that's actually one of the reasons why I didn't renew my PlayStation Plus until I think it was early December because Black Friday didn't actually have a sale on PlayStation Plus, but shortly after that, like they were having like a pre-Christmas thing, and they did the same thing. They like for a lot of people to upgrade, it was cheaper, and for me, I was like, okay, I was able to get at least a semi discount off of the essentials. So
yeah.
uh, yeah, it's one of those things that PlayStation needs to think about the average person again.
It-
But all the gaming system, all gaming companies are, all the corporations in general, anti-consumer. Give us, they want your money. They're just like, shut up, give us your money.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I get that they have to compete and they have to be careful of all this stuff, and they have to try to keep winning and getting money and being profitable. I get all that, but there's a point at which you kick or where you you shoot yourself in the foot, because people get kind of sick of it, and it kind of bounces around from that. I do think this is like if subscribing to games as a service is the future, then this is the place This is like the one for sure spot that Sony does have to be very, very, very worried about Xbox. And Nintendo to some point and has to be worried too about Xbox because Xbox is sort of behind right now, but they have been putting all of their eggs in the subscribing basket. And as far as that goes, I think they have the best system. They just don't have the quality and style of game that I like. But give it time, and they, especially if their subscribing system works really well, they'll be able to afford to make the better games, and then they really will be in the like ultra lead. So Sony has to be careful because like this sort of stuff is seems to be where the future is going, and any kind of a decrease in overall or any kind of a finagling of the numbers to make it look better, you want to be very careful with the reality that you're living in, Sony, on this stuff. So yeah.
All right. Well, this has been an exceptionally long episode of Another Dead Pixel.
Yes.
This has been episode 130. Yeah, Nick, what are some words of wisdom you have for the people out there?
Um, you know, you always make sure that your blender is up to date.
Yes, software, not juicer.
Both.
Okay.
Both.
All right, guys. Well, this is ADP. Until next time, take it easy.
Bye.